Chapter 1042. Fang Ping did not pay much attention to the chaos in the Donglin catacombs. Recently, the catacombs had been in chaos. Demon wars often broke out in the Royal Sea Mountain region. It wasn't a big deal for a demon beast to break into the outer realm. Very soon, however, the situation in the Donglin catacombs caught Fang Ping's attention. Who was Old Man Li? The current number 1 on the rank 9 list. Old Man Li had reached 600 meters on his origin path. He was now a level 7 origin powerhouse. His own vitality was almost 230,000 calories. After doubling his vitality limit, it was a full 460,000 calories. In addition to his longevity swordsmanship and sky-crushing sword, Old Man Li's limit was probably more than 500,000 calories. His control over his power had never been lower than 80%. With such a realm, no rank 9 would be a match for him, barring the absolute peak. On the 20th of March, Old Man Li was going to Donglin catacombs to take a look. On March 21st, Fang Ping received a call from Old Man Li. Tell him to go to Donglin. It was very urgent. After receiving Old Man Li's call, Fang Ping arrived at Donglin in less than 10 minutes. East Forest Province. Fang Ping's biggest impression of Donglin Province was the Chen family. The Chen family was full of loyal warriors. Apart from the Chen family, there was another acquaintance from East Forest, Zhao Xuemei. Zhao Xuemei was from Donglin Province. She was the 3rd best student in the college entrance examination, and the top scorer was Chen Jiaxing. Fang Ping still remembered Zhao Xuemei saying that after the Gaokao, Chen Jiaxing had talked to her about it. He hoped that she would stay in Donglin and bring glory to Donglin Martial Arts University with him. When they were strong enough, they would guard the Donglin catacombs. Zhao Xuemei did not agree. She chose to go to MCMAU because her father had just died in the Tian'an catacombs not long ago. Zhao Xuemei needed a stronger martial arts school to support her cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Zhao Xuemei hadn't shown up in a long time. And now, Chen Jiaxing was also a fierce general in the Donglin catacombs. A fierce general. Donglin Province, Gold City. The Donglin catacombs passageway was in the suburbs of Gold City, in a military base in the suburbs. The moment Fang Ping arrived, the first person he noticed was the young man with a ramrod straight at the front of the crowd. He had an ordinary appearance and a pair of hooks on his waist. The Chen family's Wu Go. At this moment, the young man was no longer wearing an ordinary martial arts uniform. Instead, he was wearing the military uniform of a lieutenant general. When he saw Fang Ping, the young man's eyebrows shot up and he said loudly, "Hello, Minister Fang!" Behind him, several experts from the military department greeted him. "Chen Jiaxing." A smile appeared on Fang Ping's face suddenly. "It's not easy for you to still be alive." Chen Jiaxing also smiled when he heard that. He and Fang Ping had not seen each other for a long time. Both of them met during the first martial arts university championship. Actually, Chen Jiaxing had never fought against MCMAU before. They had fought CCMAU twice and lost both times. They did not even have the chance to encounter MCMAU. However, Chen Jiaxing, Sun Mingyu, and a few other former members of the Martial Arts University Alliance were admired by everyone a few years ago. They had lost, but what he had lost was his strength, not his spirit. The 10 participating members of the Martial Arts University Alliance fought fiercely, surpassing all the other universities, all for the sake of fighting for a little more resources for the martial arts university they belonged to fight for a little more hope and opportunity for the local area. At that time, Cathay was still poor. He was really poor. The number of martial artists had increased greatly, but they were unable to obtain the corresponding resources. The 3 major companies were still hoarding resources, waiting for the people to spread martial arts. Zhang Tao had big plans and big ideas. However, while the plan was huge, resources were scarce. Left with no choice, he could only use the limited resources to nurture more experts who dared to fight. Therefore, the Martial Arts University Championship was born. Therefore, in the first Martial Arts University Championship, a group of geniuses who dared to fight emerged. At this moment, seeing Chen Jiaxing, Fang Ping was quite emotional. He was also in a good mood. Chen Jiaxing was also in a good mood. He was not handsome, nor was he simple and honest, but he looked very down to earth. In fact, in the past 3 years he had indeed been down to earth. One step at a time. Back then he was already a rank 2. He advanced step by step, leaping over each other. In the later years, when resources were abundant, Chen Jiaxing, as the most outstanding prodigy of Donglin Martial Arts University, also received some training. At the beginning of this year, Chen Jiaxing entered rank 6. Until now, in March, Chen Jiaxing entered middle stage rank 6. His speed was also extremely fast. Middle stage rank 6 was nothing. At least among the current batch of prodigies, his rank was considered very low. In MCMEU, he might not even be ranked. However, Chen Jiaxing was neither arrogant nor rash. Even though his reputation these few years was not as high as 3 years ago in Donglin, he had received a lot of praise from powerhouses. Donglin's governor, Donglin military branch commander. Many grandmasters in Donglin had high hopes for Chen Jiaxing. Chen Jiaxing was Nanjiang's Wang Jinyang, even if the difference in strength between the two was very big. Minister Fang, call me Fang Ping. Fang Ping laughed, took a step forward, patted him on the shoulder, and said with emotion, "As always, you make people feel that you're reliable. Although you're very weak, but humans also rely on weak but fearless martial artists like you to support them." Chen Jiaxing did not know whether to laugh or cry. Was this a compliment or belittling? Fang Ping was still as unruly as ever. His words were unruly. Behind him, a few powerhouses from the military department also held back their laughter, not making a sound. Chen Jiaxing also did not care about catching up with Fang Ping. Very quickly he said, Fang Ping, forget it. Just call me minister. This is official business. I'll call you by your name in private." Chen Jiaxing did not give Fang Ping a chance to speak. He said quickly, "It's like this. On the 18th, a great war broke out in the Royal Sea Mountains area. We're not very clear about the specifics. In Donglin, we haven't extended our defense zone to the Royal Sea Mountains area. We only know that a rank 8 monster with extremely strong strength broke out of the Royal Sea Mountains area and rushed into the outskirts. After that, a few rank 9 monsters also attacked. On that day, Donglin's 2 big forbidden zones seemed to have been mobilized too. However, the situation was a little complicated. 2 big forbidden zones. One side was helping the rank 8 monster escape. The other side was helping the monster chasing after it. In this way, there were more rank 9 monsters participating in the war. There were 2 big forbidden zones in Donglin catacombs. Usually, the 2 big forbidden zones had a good relationship. However, this time, they each had their own masters. They fought and killed each other, which also disturbed the entire Donglin catacombs. Chen Jiaxing continued. On the afternoon of the 20th, which is yesterday, Minister Li Changxing entered Donglin catacombs. He was worried that the demon war in Donglin would affect humans. Initially, Minister Li was only defending and had no intention of interfering. However, last night, a great war broke out between both sides again. When the war broke out, Minister Li said that something was wrong. He sensed a familiar demon aura. Fang Ping laughed. "Who is it? Is it Jiao?" That old man ran away halfway through the call. He's not young anymore, but he's still unreliable. Chen Jiaxing said hurriedly, "I know about this. Minister Li just came out this morning, and soon chaos broke out in the catacombs again. Some demons attacked Donglin City. Minister Li had no choice but to enter the catacombs again to quell the chaos." Attack Donglin City? Fang Ping's gaze turned cold instantly. At this moment, the air in the entire military base seemed to have turned cold. How dare they? Do the demons want to die? Fang Ping let out a cold humph. How dare the demons attack a human city at this time? Chen Jiaxing explained, this matter is related to Minister Li. He sensed a familiar aura earlier and went to the place where the war broke out to check. Not long after, Minister Li brought back 2 monsters. Everyone knows one of them. I think it's the West Phoenix City's guardian demon, the Phoenix Spirit, that you captured in Magic City's catacombs. The other monster should be the same clan as the Phoenix Spirit, but it was seriously injured. The demons attacked Donglin City because of these 2 monsters. They demanded us to hand over these 2 monsters. Many rank 9 demons came, but Minister Li was here. He killed a rank 9 monster in an instant this morning and scared the other party away. But the other party is now contacting other powerhouses in the Donglin catacombs. It looks like they're not going to let it go. The Phoenix Spirit? Fang Ping said in surprise. This monster ran away, but it still dares to appear in the outskirts. It's got guts. The same clan as the Phoenix Clan monster? Fang Ping frowned slightly. He had captured the Phoenix Spirit. Old man Li did not need to pay so much attention to it. The Phoenix Spirit was a coward and afraid of death. It was normal for it to run away, but Old man Li asked him to come. That was not normal. At most, he would escort the Phoenix Spirit back to Magic City. Thinking of this, Fang Ping smiled. Let's go. I'll go to Donglin City to take a look. Instructor Li is still down there, right? Yes, but Chen Jiaxing said hesitantly, Minister, the absolute peak does not enter the outskirts. It's fine. They don't know that I'm in the outer realms. It's not a big deal if I don't attract too much attention. Fang Ping chuckled. Of course, right now, he did not dare to be too ostentatious in the catacombs like before. This was to prevent the catacombs from finding out that he was in the catacombs and not in the human world. Once it was known, it might cause a lot of trouble. Similar to Zhang Tao and the rest back then, the current Fang Ping did not dare to leave the human world easily. On the vast earth, there was only him, a pseudo-paragon keeping watch. Even for the big operation 2 days later, the news leaked to the outside world was that Fang Ping would not enter the catacombs, but would keep watch on Earth. Not only that, the current him had to be like old Zhang, often showing his face in public. I have to let everyone know that I, Fang Ping, am still here. Old Zhang used to be on TV a lot, but it wasn't because he liked it. But he had no choice but to show himself, inform the human powerhouses that I, Zhang Tao, am still on Earth and everything is fine. He also informed all the powers that were keeping an eye on the humans that he, King Wu, was still on Earth and that all ghosts and monsters should scram. Because of this, nothing major had happened on Earth in the past few years. Because the Martial King was on Earth. Once King Wu was gone, the cult would have grown stronger over the years. The previous pope was most afraid of Zhang Tao, afraid that he would be captured by Zhang Tao, so he rarely showed his face in China. Hearing what Fang Ping said, Chen Jiaxing did not think that Fang Ping thought less than he did, so he stopped trying to persuade him. Soon, the group entered the passage. When the martial artists guarding the passageway saw Fang Ping, they were also full of energy and excitement. This was Fang Ping's first time in the Donglin catacombs. Compared to Zhang Tao, Fang Ping was younger. His rise to power was also shorter. Comparatively speaking, Fang Ping still had a lot of selfish motives. He was mainly in charge of Magic City, so he went to the Magic City catacombs the most. Next was the Nanjiang catacombs. Of these 2 catacombs, one was where MCMAU was, and the other was where Fang Ping's hometown was. He paid more attention to them. As for the other catacombs, Fang Ping had not been there many times. Some of them, he had never been there at all. However, everyone understood. After all, Fang Ping had risen too quickly. Before this, most of his energy was focused on Magic City. It was normal for him to oversee things there. After a few more years, Fang Ping would probably experience some changes. In the tunnel, Fang Ping restrained all of his aura Even the shape of his face changed slightly. He had to be careful not to be spied on. As he walked, Fong Ping asked, "Do you know why the demons are hunting that rank 8 phoenix?" "I don't." Fong Ping did not ask again. A rank 8 phoenix. He only knew one. The phoenix. The phoenix that was a little shrewd and a little ambitious. However, the phoenix was Ji Yao's guardian monster. Why would it appear here? Moreover, the phoenix was the descendant of the Phoenix King. Did the demons dare to hunt down the descendant of a true king? The Phoenix King was not dead yet, was he? After a few more steps, the entrance to the passageway appeared. Fong Ping suddenly said, "I heard that the last time Zhao Xuemei entered the catacombs was in Donglin catacombs. These few months, has there been any news of her?" "No." Chen Jiaxing sighed. "Xuemei is really working too hard. Back then, I advised her to stay in Donglin Martial Arts University. Later, I realized that going to MCMAU might be the best choice. Before she left the last time, she had already reached peak rank 6. I think she went deep to break through to rank 7. When she came back, I believe she must be a rank 7 Grandmaster. It's been a few months. Don't worry, Minister." Chun Jiaxing laughed. "A few months is not long, and it's not like there's no news. Previously, there was news that there were a few battles in the depths of the catacombs, suspected to be between high ranks. One side probably used vitality force, and that's probably Xuemei. She should be fine, and there's a high chance that she has broken through. Now, she's looking for powerhouses to train herself. If not, she wouldn't have broken through so quickly. Constant battles, constantly putting oneself in a dead end. If one did not die, one would improve even faster. This was a shortcut for a neo-martial artist to become stronger. Of course, this path was also covered with blood." Fong Ping did not say anything more. That stubborn girl had been like this since a few years ago. Fong Ping had advised her a few times, but she was still the same. Back then, Lu Fengger had said that she was most optimistic about Qin Fengqing and Zhao Xuemei, not anyone else. Qin Fengqing, this guy, he did not know where he went recently. There was no news at all. Zhao Xuemei did not let him down. With her once honed realm, even if Fong Ping had provided her with a lot of resources, if she really broke through to rank 7, it would be really scary. While the two were talking, Fong Ping stepped out of the passageway. "Get lost. If you dare come again, don't blame me for killing your nest." Fong Ping dared to come out. In the air, an extremely domineering roar came. Old Man Li held his sword, standing proudly in the void. On the opposite side, a few rank 9 monsters and rank 9 powerhouses looked livid. There were many rank 9s here. On this side, there were only 2 rank 9s, Old Man Li and a rank 9 who guarded Donglin catacombs. However, Old Man Li was not afraid at all, incomparably domineering. "I said to stew and eat, and you still dare to come and make trouble. I gave you face, but you don't want it. This is the last warning, or else. Don't even think about leaving today." Old Man Li growled, and a sword ray shot out. On the opposite side, 5 or 6 rank 9s were on high alert, attacking one after another, joining forces to block. Rumble. There was a loud explosion, and a few rank 9 powerhouses took a few steps back. Some of them already had bloodstains on their bodies. "If you don't get lost, I'll really be ruthless." Longevity sword. At this moment, on the opposite side, a peacock monster with a powerful aura raised its feathers, its mentality fluctuating violently, saying, "Guardian of the royal court, we have no intention to be your enemy. However, you killed my royal court powerhouses, kidnapped my royal highness. Even if the king of man is here, he must give the royal court an explanation. Hand over her royal highness. Hand over Phoenix clan elder Fongling." "What do you mean, your highness?" Old Man Li humphed coldly. "I went to kill Fongling. How dare you? Since you've sided with us humans previously, then you should work hard honestly. How dare you run away? Humans only have one word for deserters: kill. As he said that, Old Manly humphed. The King of Man is here? If the King of Man is here, he's not as easy to talk to as I am. Let me tell you, if you don't leave now, when Fong Ping really comes, none of you will leave. That temper of his. If you dare to attack my human city, all of you will die. As soon as he said that, the powerhouses on the opposite side all had strange expressions. The peacock monster said angrily, "Longevity sword," I said, "hand over Her Royal Highness and Fong Ling, and we will retreat immediately. There is more than one demon king guarding the royal court, and we are not afraid of your land of rebirth. Your land of rebirth is already surrounded by strong enemies. Do you want to force the royal court to start a war with you?" Old Manly said lightly, "You have no right to talk about starting a war. Ask your demon king if he dares to start a war. I'll say it one last time. That little bird's injuries are too severe. It's dead. I'll stew it and eat it. That big bird, Fong Ling, it must be brought back to the Heaven Division and killed according to military law." As he said that, Old Manly clenched his teeth. A strand of flesh appeared and shot toward the other party. After thinking for a while, a giant bone appeared in his hand. He tossed it out casually, cursing. I said, "I'll eat it, so I'll eat it. If you want it, I'll pull it out for you. Do you want it? Fong Ling isn't dead, but you've thought it through. If you insist on taking Fong Ling away, then the traitor of the Heaven Division will be guarding the royal court. When it comes to traitors, we only have one word: kill. Kill. Even if we hide in the depths of the royal court, we'll still attack. Don't force us to start a war with you." The peacock monster took the giant golden bone. This time its mentality fluctuated violently. The phoenix sparrow's golden bone. Damn it! Did the longevity sword really eat the phoenix sparrow? The phoenix sparrow was severely injured previously, but it was eaten by the martial artist who resurrected just like that. It ate a descendant of a true king. Even if it wanted to bring the phoenix sparrow back, it was not to kill it, but to imprison it. But now, Kong Yu was on the verge of breaking down. If the phoenix sparrow was really eaten, how was she going to explain it to the phoenixes? As for the phoenix spirit, although it was an elder of the phoenixes, many people knew that the phoenix spirit had defected to Fong Ping previously. With Fong Ping's personality, it was normal for him to hunt down the phoenix spirit after it betrayed him. Whether to start a war with the humans for the phoenix spirit or to turn a blind eye, Kong Yu knew. The royal court's demon king would probably make a choice. The key was still the phoenix sparrow. It did not expect the phoenix sparrow to ambush them halfway. It fled toward the outskirts, fighting and retreating at the same time, escaping into 8 southern regions. It did not expect the longevity swordsman to come here and even attack. With lightning speed, he killed 3 9th-grade demonic beasts, captured the phoenix spirit alive, and took away the phoenix sparrow along the way. Now Kong Yu was in a dilemma. The phoenix spirit was captured, and the phoenix sparrow's fate was unknown. Was she going to leave just like that? If that was the case, it would be hard to explain. Although it was not weak and was also a powerhouse in the rank 9 ranking, compared to the longevity swordsman, the gap was not small. It was not a match at all. Was a war really going to start in 8 southern regions? While it was struggling, Old Manly said impatiently, "Don't force me to attack again. You killed a mere rank 8 monster and captured a traitor. Do you want revenge? In the Land of Kings battleground, I killed more than 10 of your royal court guardian true kings, but I didn't see you fart." Kong Yu's mentality fluctuated, and she said coldly, "Longevity swordsman, it's because of overbearing powerhouses like you that the Land of Rebirth is surrounded by enemies. This time you killed the royal court true king's descendant and many demon generals. Cut the crap!" Without another word, Old Manly rushed over with his sword in hand. Kong Yu harumphed coldly, but did not say anything else. She retreated quickly. Old Manly did not give chase. He stood on top of the city wall and said loudly, "Speaking of which, the phoenix demon beast tastes pretty good. I ate a dragon, that mystic dragon's descendant, the phoenix too. When are you guys going to get me some fresh ones to try? Humph. Longevity swordsman, you'll regret what you did today. Regret? I do regret not eating the peacock meat. I'll try it now. As soon as he finished speaking, Old Man Li shot forward. In front, Kong Yu and the other demons and the catacomb city lords fled. Although there were many of them, they did not dare to fight Longevity, swordsman, to the death. Now, although they did not know if the phoenix sparrow was really dead, Longevity swordsman had eaten the phoenix sparrow's meat. That was true. The shredded meat really belonged to the phoenix sparrow. Moreover, they did not sense the phoenix sparrow's aura in Donglin City. As for sending the phoenix sparrow away through the passageway, it was huge. If they really sent it away, they would have noticed it since they had been watching since yesterday. The only thing they could do now was to continue watching, to see if the phoenix sparrow was really dead. Whether the phoenix sparrow was dead or not was not too important. However, the phoenix sparrow's sudden escape, whether it was its own idea, Jiao's idea, or if it had other motives, she still had to pay more attention to this. The phoenix sparrow's identity was a little special. Kong Yu had to confirm if it was dead. After Kong Yu and the others left, Old Man Li quickly returned to Donglin City. In the city, a large number of guards cheered. Longevity swordsman. Invincible. The cheers were exhilarating, comfortable, refreshing. So what if I ate your true king's descendant? I captured your rank 9 demons and brought them back to be executed according to military law. Do you dare to barge in? This was a human. This was a longevity swordsman. This was exhilarating. All these years, humans had been suppressed by the catacombs. The catacombs could only bully them. Even when they fought, it was a battle of numbers. Once there were more humans, a war would break out immediately. They had to reduce the number of powerhouses in the city to maintain balance. Right now, there were not many people. There was only one person and one sword, yet he intimidated everyone. Those rank 9 demons and city lords would not dare to offend him. High up in the sky, Old Man Li laughed. Everyone, let's encourage each other. Humans are no longer a party that can be bullied by anyone. Of course, it's not to the extent of wantonly starting a war. Whether or not we can be completely exhilarated still depends on everyone. The stronger you are, the more exhilarating we will be. Sooner or later, we will slaughter our way to their lair. After encouraging everyone, Old Man Li had already seen Fong Ping and the others. Although Fong Ping had changed his appearance, he still recognized him at a glance. Seeing that he no longer hovered in the air, he landed quickly, gave Fong Ping a look, and quickly walked toward the city center. Seeing that, Fong Ping quickly followed. Did the old man discover something? Why was he acting so secretive? Why was the phoenix sparrow here? And was it being hunted by the demons? What happened to the Destiny Royal Court and the Guardian Royal Court? Fong Ping's interest was piqued. Maybe there would be some unexpected gains this time. 9 Heavens, Divine Emperor. Chapter 1043. Minister Li, spare me. Fong Ping had just entered the war supervisor's house in the center of the city when he heard Fong Ling's screams. The layout of the war supervisor's house was extremely simple. In the spacious hall, a huge map of Donglin catacombs was placed on the wall. There was not even a bench. At this moment, the gigantic Fong Ling seemed to have been shaved, much smaller than before. Fong Ling was lying on the floor in the hall, weak and listless. Beside it was a barbecue grill. Fong Ping even suspected that Song Mao had snuck over. In the next moment, Fong Ping knew he had misunderstood. Old Man Li slashed with his sword. A piece of flesh and blood flew. Old Man Li simply started barbecuing. While barbecuing, he said lightly, "It's fine if you ran, but you insisted on killing your way back to the outskirts. You just had to run into me. Fong Ling, you joined heaven. Traitors, you should know." Minister Li, Fong Ling's voice was desolate. This was a female monster. Her voice was also tearful. I didn't plan to run. After the battle that day, I was going to return to heaven, rest. Old man, Lee interrupted. Don't say that to me. This old man has heard more lies than you. Those demons outside have left. It looks like they've given up on you. You tell me, should I barbecue you or stew you or just steam you? Ministerly, I'm also a rank 9. I can guard the airspace for heaven. No need. Old man, Lee said, tilting his head. Do you want some? After saying that, Fong Ling struggled to lift its head. When it saw Fong Ping, even if it was Fong Ping in disguise, its bird face changed drastically. Fong Ping was here. It was doomed. Minister. No, Lord Human King, I know I'm wrong. I won't do it again. Fong Ling trembled. It was over. It was really over. Its luck was unparalleled. It had just arrived at the outskirts, and it was already bumped into by Li Chongsheng. Now even Fong Ping was here. Fong Ling was so desperate that it wanted to kill itself. Why was it showing off? If it had known, it would not have gone to Destiny Royal Court. Fong Ping looked at it and smiled. Don't be afraid. I won't eat your flesh. Besides, you're a demon. You're not on our side. Running away is normal. I don't blame you. The more he said that, the more Fong Ling was afraid. My lord, all right, cut the crap. Fong Ping cut him off. I can't eat your meat. I still remember when I peed myself last time. Even cats don't eat it. Do you think I'll eat it? As he spoke, he teased, Teacher, do you want to eat this bird meat? Aren't you afraid of being stained with feces? Old man Lee was calm and composed. He said nonchalantly, You still haven't suffered. This is a great supplement. Even if it poops right in front of you, it'll still excrete energy. It's also a great supplement. Fong Ping could not help but laugh. He sat down and said, Let's cut the long story short. If I stay here for too long, it won't be good if someone finds out. It's nothing big. It's Phoenix Sparrow Ji Yao's bird. The Phoenix Spirit was chasing after this bird. The Phoenix Spirit complained, Department Head Lee, I was only trying to persuade Her Highness to return to the Phoenix clan. I didn't kill it. Old man Lee looked at it and said lightly, If you interrupt again, this old man wants to eat some Phoenix marrow. The Phoenix Spirit quieted down instantly, not daring to make a sound. Old man Lee continued, I met the Phoenix Sparrow. It sent me a voice transmission saying that it has something important to look for you. That child of wealth of yours seems to want to give you wealth again this time. Fong Ping laughed. There's such a good thing. You don't say. Ji Yao is really my lucky star. When the catacombs are conquered in the future, why don't we build a sculpture for the catacombs? How about carving Ji Yao, the great hero who liberated the catacombs? Old man Lee could not be bothered with him. He continued, The Phoenix Sparrow is not dead yet, but it's not easy to bring it back. I've stuffed it underground now and sealed it with Vitality Force. It's about to die. Should we save it? I'll go take a look first. All right. The two of them talked among themselves. No one cared about the Phoenix Spirit. They left it behind and went underground. The half-dead Phoenix Spirit still dared not move, even if no one was restraining it. The longevity swordsman was here. Fong Ping was here. If it dared to run, it would just kill itself, or it would die a worse death. After a while, Fong Ping saw the Phoenix Sparrow that was on its last breath. This phoenix had almost died this time. However, it was a rank 8 golden body powerhouse after all. Even if it was on its last breath, when it saw Fong Ping, it quickly told him Ji Yao's plan. After that it begged, Fong Ping, helping Ji Yao is also helping your place of resurrection. Fong Ping rubbed his chin, saying lightly, It's not that simple. Is Ji Yao crazy? She actually let these people gather and attack us. Do you know that once Sky Plant's royal court and these forces see this situation and send their troops at the same time, how dangerous it will be for humans? I think, Ji Yao might be up to no good. Follow me and use the injuring myself trick. When I really appear, maybe 100 rank 9s can hold me back for a while. Very soon, many paragons will come charging. Fong Ping sneered. I know how to use the injuring myself trick too. I'll believe whatever you say. What an idiotic decision. Humans have really suffered losses this time. I'm not done with Ji Yao. Ji Yao actually let these people come to the Outland. If they were not careful, a great war would break out. That would be huge trouble. Also, he was working on a big plan now. In the end, it was about to be implemented, but Ji Yao might also enter the third stage of the test at that time. Motherf asterisk her, he was making trouble for himself. He could not split himself up. How could he go and kill people? Also, if it was a trap, then it would be even more troublesome. With so many powerhouses gathering, his plan might have a huge loophole. If he started a war in the Outland and delayed for a moment, it might give these people the opportunity to attack Earth and destroy it. Originally, there were not so many powerhouses in the Outland. Humans still had a chance to resist. Damn it! Fong Ping cursed. They did not come earlier or later. They came at this time. They really knew how to find trouble for him. After pondering for a moment, Fong Ping said in a low voice, But if it's true, it's not like there's no chance. Old Man Li looked at him, focusing. Fong Ping, if we start a war on multiple fronts, you're the only one with paragons on the human side. It's very easy for big problems to arise. Or we can delay the other plans first. Fong Ping raised his hand slightly and said in a low voice, Instructor, do you think there's a way to make them fight each other? Old Man Li said hesitantly. The Destiny Royal Court is considered one side. The Outland, they might not dare to go there. The Outland is obviously guarded by the catacombs. With the cowardly style of those people in the catacombs, would they dare to look for trouble? What if the people in the Outland kill their people first? You said you're in disguise. Old Man Li shook his head. It's very easy for people to guess it's you. The Outland doesn't have any conflict with them. If there's a conflict for no reason, anyone with a little bit of intelligence will think more. That's true. Also, I don't want to cause too much trouble here in the Outland. Fong Ping thought for a while and said slowly, the Outland and the Destiny Royal Court will all be a force in this plan. The Outland is also considered a force. Wangu Mountain and these forces are considered a force. We are considered a force. This way, the 5 forces will participate. As Fong Ping said that, he squatted down and wrote and drew on the ground, marking out the 5 forces. In addition, the evil sect, the extraterritorial immortal island, Imperial Sea Mountain, Sky Plants Royal Court Beyond Sky. Among these 5 forces, Beyond Sky and the extraterritorial immortal island are too busy with their own affairs right now. They might not participate. The other 3 forces might participate. We can't ignore them. Fong Ping joined the 3 forces again. This time, the 8 forces were gathered. 8 camps. Our goal is the Outland. Wangu Mountain, and these people's target is the Outland. The remaining ones are still Destiny, Sky Plants, Imperial Sea Mountain, and the Evil Sect. Fong Ping tapped the floor tiles lightly and said with a smile, Old Man Li, do you think there's hope to make these 4 sides fight it out? How do we fight it out? Old Man Li said with a headache. It's about the same if they join forces to fight us. Dream on. Not necessarily. Fong Ping's eyes flickered. I'm at Imperial Sea Mountain. Actually, there's still some hope. Devil Swordsman can be said to be the most powerful demon chieftain in Imperial Sea Mountain's territory now. It's unquestionable, Sword's demon servant. Unquestionable sword has already appeared. Fong Ping smiled and said, No worries. It's just a corporeal puppet. Old Man Li, you are unquestionable sword. Old Man Li was dazed. You have the sky-crushing sword. With the sky-crushing sword in hand, your unquestionable sword. Tell Devil Swordsman that the previous one was just a corporeal body that you controlled. Not only do you have the sky-crushing sword, but you're also a swordsmanship powerhouse. This fits unquestionable sword's persona. As for me, I'm actually groomed by you. Tell him that you have a big plan to unify the three realms. Now, the human realm has already fallen into your hands. Old Man Lee continued to be dazed. Beside him, Phoenix Sparrow's eyes were also dull. He did not know if he had heard wrongly. You want to unify the land now. You need it to lend you a helping hand. You're a ninth refinement golden body. Everyone knows the name Longevity, swordsman. You're also this era's most dazzling genius. Devil Swordsman's IQ is average. As long as you fool it well, there won't be a problem. Old Man Lee could not help but say, will this work? I know almost nothing about unquestionable sword. It's okay. I'll teach you how to say it later. Fong Ping smiled. Do as I say. There won't be a big problem. Fool Devil Swordsman and let it lead the Imperial Sea Mountain Demons into battle. I want to muddy the waters. Let people not know what I want to do, where I will appear, whether I will be in the catacombs or not. As Fong Ping said that, he continued, Devil Swordsman's target is Destiny Royal Court. Ji Yao wants me to make a move. This woman's IQ is 0. If I really kill so many rank 9, I guarantee that humans will become the target of public criticism very soon. If I dare to kill 100 rank 9s today, I'll dare to kill 100 paragons tomorrow. Humans will become everyone's public enemy immediately. Ji Yao only thinks about her own interests. Does she really think that I'll make a move easily and leave a big problem for myself and humans? On the other hand, Imperial Sea Mountain's side is very interesting. The other party is independent and also belongs to Thousand Demon Royal Court. It's fine if they gain an advantage. If they suffer a loss, Thousand Demon Royal Court will send demons to help them in battle. This has always been their style. There are many rank 9 demons in Imperial Sea Mountain. As long as Devil Swordsman has some ability, subduing some rank 9s won't be a big problem. Let it drag Destiny and Thousand Demon Royal Court into this mess. It's very suitable. Fong Ping got up and paced for a while. He continued, the remaining ones are the Evil Sect and Heavenly Plant's Royal Court. Send someone to find Hua Yu. This fellow won't be satisfied. He won't be satisfied that the Royal Court is controlled by Li Yi. Although King Hua has entered the Sky Cemetery, the King Hua territory is not weak. Even Furchuan won't dare to touch the King Hua territory easily now. Old Man Li's head grew bigger. It can't be that simple. Furchuan and Tian Yu are here. Hua Yu is just a rank 8. Would he dare to create chaos at this time? He would dare, but the prerequisite is sufficient safety and sufficient benefits. Fong Ping laughed. I've already thought about it. There's a fellow we can actually work together. Who? King Huai. Old Man Li was stunned. Phoenix Sparrow was stunned too. Who? King Huai? Fong Ping laughed. This fellow is the real smart one. Benefits are the most important. Do you think he really wants to be a slave to 3 people? He just doesn't have the ability. Right now, everyone in Heavenly Plant's Royal Court wants to beat him up. Furchuan and Tian, you see him as a thorn in their side. Tell me, if I tell him to work together to eradicate Furchuan and Tian Yu and let him work with Hua Yu to take over Heavenly Plant's Royal Court, will he be interested? Old Man Li said solemnly, be careful that you don't get yourself into trouble. He's not that simple. If he was that simple, he would have died a long time ago. He wouldn't be free and unfettered until now. I know. That's why I don't plan to work with him. However, I can help him in Hua Yu. These 2 fellows, one lacks the support of a core force, the other lacks the cooperation of top-notch combat strength. If they work together, they can have a place in Heavenly Plant's Royal Court. They understand this point too. That's why I hope to see Heavenly Plant's Royal Court have internal problems, so that they can't participate in this chaotic fight. Old Man Li frowned again. This matter could easily backfire. Fong Ping did not care about this. he said again. Actually, the most alarming thing should be the evil sects. Fang Ping opened his mouth and said, "Evil sects hide in the dark. The enemies in the dark are the most dangerous. I don't believe that the powerful evil sects will not make a move at this time. The commotion on Earth previously is proof. They also hope to stir up some trouble. We can't deal with the evil sects alone. Even if we win, we will suffer heavy losses if we fight the evil sects alone." Fang Ping flicked his fingers lightly. The evil sects will definitely not hide in their headquarters obediently. This time, the evil sects might appear. The evil sects are powerful. Everyone has seen the ranking before. To deal with the evil sects, everyone has to work together. However, everyone is afraid of death. Who will be the first to stand out? What do you want? Old man Li's head hurt. Fang Ping was ambitious and greedy. Did he want everyone to deal with the evil sects? Fang Ping laughed. Everyone hopes to become stronger. Everyone is actually fighting for it. I am, and so are they. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many powerhouses entering the heavenly cemetery. Now, among the remaining powerhouses in the three realms, no one hopes to become stronger? It's still the same as before. Heavenly Dog is in the evil sect. If one obtains Heavenly Dog's remains, there's hope to inherit everything from Heavenly Dog. That is an existence that surpasses the Heavenly King rank. Do you think everyone will be tempted? Although the evil sects are strong, if everyone joins forces now, taking them down will not be a problem. As Fang Ping said that, he suddenly touched his chin. As expected, the more the situation is analyzed, the more thorough it becomes. Tell me, if I reveal to some people in advance that I want to annihilate the three major realms, what do you think? You're crazy. No, I will tell them that my goal is to lure the evil sects out. I want to kill the evil sect powerhouses, weaken their strength, find their headquarters, and seize Heavenly Dog's remains. Fang Ping's eyes flickered. I want to change my goal, at least in the eyes of others. I'm doing it for the evil sects, not the three major realms. The three major realms are just a bonus. Others aside, the crazy Taoist from the Forbidden Sea did not enter the heavenly cemetery last time. Now that he knows about Heavenly Dog, I don't believe he won't be tempted, including the powerhouses in places like Weiyu Mountain and Wangwu Mountain. Will they not be tempted? Right now, they won't be tempted by the imperishable substance, nor will they act rashly. But if they become heavenly kings and above, this is the best opportunity. Otherwise, when the others come out of the heavenly cemetery, those powerhouses today will not have any chance. If they don't fight now, they will have to wait for death in the future. I don't believe that these powerhouses are really muddle-headed at this time. Previously, they did not go to the heavenly cemetery because they were afraid and felt that there was no hope. But now, to be honest, other than the three emperor ranks, the difference in strength will not be too big. If one is not a match, two can also occupy a place if they join forces. If 5 powerhouses join forces, even an emperor rank may not win. Therefore, the current combat strength of the powerhouses is the peak, the overlord of the three realms. Everyone has hope. If they did not go, there was no hope. There were a lot of heavenly kings. Many people felt that if they went, they would die and there was nothing else. But now it was hard to say. How can you make them believe that Heavenly Dog's corpse is in the evil sect and that they can inherit everything from Heavenly Dog? Fang Ping, the powerhouses are not stupid. Heavenly Dog's corpse is really in the evil sect. Fang Ping laughed. This was told to me by a Lord God before he died. I don't think it's fake. The difficult part is how to make everyone believe. Fang Ping was a little troubled. It was not easy to make people believe him, especially those powerhouses who believed him. Actually, I don't need everyone to believe me. I won't tell everyone either. As long as 3 to 5 people know and 3 to 5 people believe me, then the others will act upon hearing the news. That's how it is. As Fang Ping said that, he muttered, maybe I can also let the evil sect people say it themselves. Then everyone will believe me. I think what Faceless said is true. Heavenly Dog's corpse is really in the evil sect. If the evil sect powerhouses really appear, maybe we can make use of them. Old Man Lee understood a little. He pondered and said, "You want to contact some powerhouses secretly and tell them something so that they can witness everything in secret? Fong Ping, you're playing with fire." He also did not think that Fong Ping needed to take such a risk. "Actually, you can wait. Why are you in such a hurry?" Fong Ping shook his head. "You're wrong. The powerhouses need someone to ignite the fire. If no one ignites the fire, it will be lukewarm. The situation between the powerhouses will continue like this. This is actually disadvantageous to us. They're not in a hurry, but I am. They are stronger than humans. They can wait for the cemetery to open. We can't, you know that. Therefore, we have to make the powerhouses circle chaotic. Only when it's chaotic will we have a chance. Previously, I set up the All Heavens and Myriad Realms ranking to make the evil sect a target for everyone. Unfortunately, it's not enough because there are only threats and no benefits. When there are enough threats and temptations, only then will everyone be tempted. Looking at Fong Ping's eloquence, Old Man Lee was filled with emotion. This fellow was becoming more and more like Zhang Tao. Of course, he was still lacking a lot. He was not as astute as Zhang Tao, not as strong as Zhang Tao, and not as experienced as him. However, Fong Ping was indeed growing rapidly. Old Man Lee sighed in his heart and said, "I'll only say 3 points. First, if the evil sect doesn't appear, everything you're doing now will only add to your troubles. Second, if the evil sect appears, the others won't trust you and will take the opportunity to join forces with the evil sect. Fong Ping, you might be surrounded and killed. Have you considered this? Third, how can you be sure that the people you contact are not spies of the evil sect?" Fong Ping nodded again. "Makes sense. Then the plan has to change. Don't inform them in advance. I have some ideas. Sky screen. I need some helpers to play the sky screen at the crucial moment at some of the pinnacles. When the evil sect martial artists appear, I'll set up the sky screen. When the time comes, I'll cause a commotion and the pinnacles will know. If the evil sect powerhouses reveal that Tengu's remains are in the evil sect, then these people will definitely attack. What if it's not exposed? You'll still be in big trouble. Then I can only run. Moreover, I'll open the sky screen when I'm confident. As long as the Tengu incident is true, the probability of self-destruction won't be too low." Old Man Lee thought about it. This did not conflict much with his previous plan. It was just that he had added some insurance measures. If that was the case, it was not considered a loss. Up to you. But who will go to those pinnacles and wait for the sky screen to be played? It's extremely dangerous. I'm afraid most people won't be able to get close. Fong Ping's eyes flickered. There's still a candidate. It might not be a human powerhouse. For example, a certain coward king. Tell him to cooperate. Otherwise, if I go and cause trouble for him, do you think he'll do it? He'll just ask some subordinates to do it. It's not like he'll do it himself. He'll just do some chores. It's nothing. No matter how cowardly the coward king is, his subordinates won't dare to disobey his orders. Moreover, he's a real king with status in the catacombs. His people are also harmless. Even if they appear in front of someone's house, they might not attract hostility. Li Chongsheng was speechless. Feng Ke was confused. King Pine? Wasn't King Pine dead? Also, he came to inform Fong Ping to help Ji Yao. But Fong Ping did not seem to have that intention. No, he was prepared to let the Mount Royal Sea Monster Clan help. But was this reliable? Feng Ke realized that he understood Fong Ping less and less. In the past, he thought he knew a little about Fong Ping's personality. Now he really did not understand. Ji Yao might have also misjudged the situation. Ji Yao thought that Fong Ping would be wild with joy if she betrayed her teammates. But now it sounded like Fong Ping was not happy at all. Fong Ping did not care about it. He wanted to quickly arrange everything. The Destiny Royal Court's matter might not be a bad thing. Of course, it might not be a good thing either. However, the Destiny Royal Court's unforeseen event made Fong Ping feel that this might be the trigger for him to mess up the three realms. On this day, Fong Ping quickly made some arrangements. He arranged for Old Man Li to go to Mount Royal Sea. This time, Fong Ping arranged for Li Wuji to be the messenger for the King of Peaceful Mountain, including the crazy Taoist from overseas. This time, the Water Clan would put in the effort. As for the Sky Plant's royal court, Fong Ping secretly asked someone to contact Hua Yu. He had a way to contact Hua Yu. As for King Huai, Fong Ping did not care. He only asked Hua Yu to pass on his message. As for whether it would work, it was up to them. As for the Phoenix Sparrow and the Phoenix Spirit, the Phoenix Sparrow was only left with a small half of its head. Fong Ping's mentality sealed it and forced it into the Phoenix Spirit's stomach. Then he sent someone to escort the Phoenix Spirit back to Earth. As for the demon powerhouses who were hiding in the dark and monitoring, it would be strange if they could find out. They could see the Phoenix Spirit being escorted away, but they definitely could not sense the Phoenix Sparrow's existence. The Phoenix Sparrow's severed limbs were divided among the Donglin City powerhouses on the same day. The aroma of meat spread throughout Donglin City. Therefore, Kong Yu, who was secretly observing, felt an incomparably miserable scene. The Phoenix Sparrow had really been stewed by a martial artist who had been resurrected. Not only that, on this day, another piece of news spread in the catacombs. Fong Ping had disappeared. It was said that he had snuck into the restricted area. It might be the same as before. He had gone to one of the 4 large dynasties' imperial city. As for where he had gone, it was unknown. This time, whether the 4 large dynasties believed it or not, they would be in chaos for a while. This was also Fong Ping's little strategy. No matter what, it was good to delay the 4 large dynasties' pace. That was why they were so suspicious, and that was why they were hesitant. Actually, he did not want the 4 large dynasties to get involved at this time. However, if he could not delay them, then it would not matter if they got involved. Time passed quickly. March 22nd passed in the blink of an eye. March 23rd, the day that Fong Ping and the major forces had agreed on. The powerhouses gathered, preparing to open up a new battlefield in the Outland. P.S. This won't do. Old Eagle's writing is too laggy. I have to stop for a while. It's already 2 chapters tonight. Tomorrow, depending on the situation, I might ask for a day off to fix it. Of course, after I fix it tonight, I won't ask for a day off tomorrow. M. Chapter 1044. Heaven Division. Everyone gathered. Jiang Kuei and the others had been waiting for a while. However, Fong Ping was still looking at the map. It seemed like he hadn't confirmed his target yet. There were rumors about Fong Ping's disappearance in the outside world, but that was only the outside world. Jiang Kuei and the others had seen Fong Ping the moment they arrived, so naturally the rumors were false. They also thought that Fong Ping would not leave Earth. If the current Fong Ping left hastily, Earth would be in great danger. After waiting for a while, Jiang Kuei couldn't help but ask, Minister Fong, you told us 10 days ago that you were going to open up the Outer Realm battlefield. Don't tell me you still haven't confirmed the target? Fong Ping was too unreliable. Fong Ping tilted his head and smiled. I'm sure, but I'm afraid there might be some trouble. Having said that, Fong Ping pointed at the map and laughed. 7 Southern Territory Magic City, 8 Southern Territory Donglin, 9 Southern Territory Nanjiang, 10 Southern Territory Beihu, 11 Southern Territory Tiannan. Demonic City has been pacified, Tiannan has been pacified, and a large number of experts from the outer regions of Nanjiang have died. If we take down the 2 catacombs in Donglin and Beihu, the 5 major territories in the Southern Territory will become 1. Fong Ping's eyes lit up. he said quickly. That's why my targets are Donglin and Beihu. But I am a little hesitant now. Minister Fong, please speak clearly, Jianya said with a frown. It shouldn't be a problem for us to take down 2 outer realms. I know. Fong Ping took a deep breath and said, Donglin of 8 southern territories is adjacent to Destiny Royal Court, while Beihu of 10 southern territories is adjacent to Sky Plant's Royal Court. I'm worried that once we attack these 2 great catacombs, the powerhouses of the 2 great royal courts will come to our aid. Everyone was speechless. Which catacombs was not adjacent to the inner territory royal court? Then you might as well not organize such a battle. Now he was hesitating. Fong Ping flicked his fingers, lightly, smiling. I heard that there has been a lot of activity in the catacombs recently. I'm worried that something might go wrong. Fong Ping continued, This time I can't go. I have to keep watch on Earth. When that time comes, it will be very dangerous for all of you if you encounter the apex. Everyone, if I really choose these 2 catacombs, the apex of each of your clans still have to look after it. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to save you in time. No one was surprised that Fong Ping would not go. As for desperate adepts making a move, it wasn't as if the various clans didn't have desperate adepts. Jiang Yan smiled faintly and said, Minister Fong, cooperation is cooperation, but I'll say the ugly words first. If the 2 majestic courts really send impasse realm experts, even if we have impasse realm experts, it's more likely that our people will have to retreat. When that time comes, Minister Fong, don't blame us for deserting. We don't want what happened to Feng Ling to happen to us either. They were only cooperating, not selling their bodies. The phoenix spirit of the demon race was captured and imprisoned on the heavenly island. It was said that she was in a miserable state. Jiang Kuei did not want Fong Ping to do the same thing to them later. If they could win the fight, they would fight. If they could kill, they would kill. If they couldn't, their own sect's apex experts would step forward to negotiate peace, and both sides would retreat. At worst, they would just wrangle a little. This was the norm for the major powers. Fong Ping chuckled. Of course not. I won't watch everyone go to their deaths. Of course, you won't listen to me and die. Your mission is very simple. Kill the powerhouses in the catacombs. Our mission is also very simple. Advance the front line. Fong Ping looked at Li Daong and said, The military department's mission is to move the front line forward. Right now, most of our cities are beside the passageway. Once the cities are breached, the other party can enter the passageway quickly and attack Earth. And my goal is to push the front line forward at least 500 li. This way, even if the front line collapses, we still have time to react. Fong Ping looked at everyone. Everyone's goals are not conflicting. You guys kill the high ranks. You don't have to worry about the rest. We're responsible for cleaning the battlefield and pushing the front line forward. Of course, there will also be high ranks who will act with you. Also, don't worry about being killed. If our people and your people kill the catacombs powerhouses together, both sides will count 1 head. Fong Ping chuckled. This way, we can avoid disputes because of snatching heads. Of course, I might have to spend an extra portion of imperishable substance, but this is not a problem. I still hope that everyone can work together to kill the enemy and not be on guard against each other and have conflicts. Jiang Kuei did not say anything. Ling Xiao giggled. In that case, if your people kill the other party's powerhouses and we go to finish them off, it counts as a head too? Yes. Fong Ping was very generous. He laughed. Of course it counts. If you have the ability, you can convince the human powerhouses to finish you off, or you can just cooperate with each other and kill one as 2. That's not considered cheating. This price, I, Fong Ping, will bear. Minister Fong is very generous. Su Bing and the others praised. It was generous enough. In that case, they could totally cooperate with the humans. No matter which side killed someone, they could use 1 as 2. Xuanda Grotto Heavens, Xian, Hua, thought for a while. In that case, there are two goals this time, Beihu and Donglin. That's right, Xianhua said again. But between Nanjiang and Beihu, there's still the void mausoleum grotto heaven. If you want to unite the 5 territories, I'm afraid it's not going to be easy. Between the 5 territories, there were 2 bounded territories. However, Purple Cap Mountain was destroyed, and Gong Yuzi had entered the heavenly cemetery. Now, only the void mausoleum grotto heaven was an obstacle. Fang Ping said lightly, "There's no hurry. The void mausoleum grotto heaven doesn't dare to come out now. When there's time later, I'll go talk to them and open a path between the bounded territories. This way, the 5 territories can be connected." The corner of Xianhua's mouth twitched. That was easy to say. Open a path? Was this not splitting the other party's grotto heaven into 2? It would be strange if the other party agreed. Fang Ping did not say anything. Very quickly, he said seriously, "Commander Li Deong, you and the people from Wanggu Mountain, Weiyu Mountain, and Xuande Grotto Heaven will go to the Donglin catacombs together. You will lead the military department powerhouses and the 4 houses of guardians to join the battle. In addition, the powerhouses from the 6 Holy Lands, Star City, and Pantheon will also go to the Donglin catacombs. Minister Wu Quishan, you will lead the powerhouses from the Department of Education, as well as the martial artists from the other 4 Holy Lands and countries. Cooperate with the 6 Grandmasters and the overseas Immortal Island powerhouses to go to the Beihu catacombs. The mission this time is very simple. Just like what I said, clean up their powerhouses, push forward the battlefront, and unite the 5 territories." Fang Ping looked at the martial artists from the various Holy Lands and said with a smile, "Settle some of the chaos in Sino Nation first. Only then can I extricate myself. Otherwise, I can't extricate myself now, and it'll be difficult for me to support the countries. So, everyone, don't blame me for prioritizing Sino Nation first." As soon as he said that, from the Pantheon side, Fang Ping's old acquaintance, Ross, said, "Since Sino Nation has the upper hand in the Southern Territory, it's inevitable that they will expand their advantage. We've already considered this before we came. Minister Fang, you don't have to worry that we'll be dissatisfied." "That's good. Thank you, everyone, for your understanding." Fang Ping gave them a fist salute and said with a smile, "Then it's better to do it sooner rather than later. Everyone, the situation on Earth is complicated now. There are too many people and too many mouths. Just go directly. I'll keep an eye on all sides to prevent the news from spreading to the catacombs too quickly." Ling Xiao glanced at him, thought for a while, and said, "If you're not going, are the others from the Heaven Division not going too?" Fang Ping smiled and said, "Everyone has a mission. The Heaven Division is in charge of guarding Magic City and keeping an eye on the safety of the ground. They'll be ready to assist the other catacombs at any time. Right now, the evil sects haven't been completely wiped out yet. They have to prevent any accidents from happening." At this time, Boundless Force's Bull Face struggled and said, "Lord King, if that's the case, Old Bull has to go to the Beihu catacombs?" Yes. Boundless Force was very depressed. The others did not understand, but he knew it. Old Bull was going to Beihu not to kill people, but to keep an eye on the Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven's movements. Who knew? He might even have to fight with the Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven's Paragon, Wu Quishan. Wu Quishan's mission was not to advance the front line, but to bring people to assist him. Boundless Force felt helpless. It was very dangerous, okay? Compared to the Paragon, that cat and Fang Ping were even more dangerous. Sighing in his heart, Boundless Force still said, "All right then, Lord King. After this, Old Bull will return to Water Force Island. The crisis over there has not been resolved yet." Fang Ping smiled and said, "That's what I should do. After conquering these 2 outer regions, Sino Nation's troubles will be much smaller. I'll also contact Commander Li Zhen to return. When the time comes, Commander Li or I can take action and help you solve the crisis." "Thank you, Lord King." Fang Ping waved his hand, looking indifferent. Everyone, let's get moving. Brother Jiang, Ling Xiao, all of you, please try your best to avoid getting involved in the middle and low-ranked battlefields. Move the front line as far as possible. Our people will advance from the rear. The few of them had no objections. Their goal was to kill those powerhouses. As for the battle between the weak, they had no intention of doing so. Very soon, Li Daong led the military department powerhouses, including the powerhouses from Polaris City, and hurried toward Donglin. They left using the flight step. On the ground, hundreds of military vehicles that were ready to go also started moving quickly. These people did not need to go too quickly. After Li Daong and the rest went in and lured the high-ranked away, it was time for them to enter. When they arrived and reorganized, the time was just right. After Li Daong left, Wu Quishan did not delay either. Beihu was still quite far from Magic City. He quickly made arrangements to lead the army and powerhouses to Beihu. At this time, Zhong Qinghuan, who was not assigned a mission, frowned slightly and asked, "Minister Fong, what about our mission?" Wu Quishan led the education department powerhouses to Beihu, while Li Daong led the military department powerhouses to Donglin. The 4 houses of guardians had missions. Tian said that they had to watch over Earth. What about the Department of Investigation? Fong Ping glanced at her and smiled. Your mission? Your mission is naturally to be responsible for the safety of the ground. You and the Department of Investigation cooperate with Bei Gongyan, Tianmu and the rest and prepare for assistance. The catacombs are not dead people. War may break out in other areas. The evil sects may intervene too. With Minister Fong watching over the ground, would they dare to come and make trouble? Zhong Qinghuan felt that it was somewhat unnecessary. This would restrict their combat strength too much. Among the 4 departments, 2 were watching over Sino Nation. It would be better to liberate their combat strength and let the Heavenly Department or the Department of Investigation join the battle. This way, with the help of those forces, they might be able to pacify the 2 territories very quickly. Fong Ping heard her and smiled. After all, there are 107 outland passageways. I have to patrol the world to prevent some passageways from being breached by the catacombs' powerhouses. How can I keep watching over Sino Nation? Zhong Qinghuan thought about it and agreed. If a battle broke out in other catacombs, the probability of losing the other party was very high. If Fong Ping was here, at least he could let people evacuate. If he was on Earth, the catacombs' powerhouses would probably not dare to attack easily. Seeing that she had no objections, Fong Ping waved his hand and said, "Minister Zhong, go carry out your mission. Be careful. Although I'm on Earth, I still have to be careful." "Yes." Zhong Qinghuan said no more and quickly left with her people. As soon as she left, Old Man Li telepathically said, "Fong Ping, if you leave and the catacombs really breached Earth, what should we do?" With Fong Ping around, it could still be pacified. If he was not around, once it was breached, there would be big trouble. Now, even Old Man Li felt that Fong Ping's pressure was somewhat beyond imagination. He had to guard against a lot of unforeseen events alone. Compared to Old Zhang and the rest, Old Zhang and the rest at least had many peerless powerhouses to assist them back then. Under normal circumstances, the 6 sacred lands would have 1 peerless powerhouse guarding over the ground, each managing a portion. But now, Fong Ping had mobilized the powerhouses of the 6 sacred lands. If the passageways were breached and caused casualties, Fong Ping's prestige would plummet. The current him could mobilize the 6 sacred lands. If something happened, the 6 sacred lands and the countries might not listen to any of Fong Ping's orders anymore. Fong Ping did not say much. He telepathically said, "Bring Tai Tu, Old Yao, Old Wang, and a few others to Hutong Mountain. Keep a low profile and pretend to be patrolling the catacombs." Although Old Man Li wanted to say a few more words, after hearing Fong Ping's words, he could only shut up. He gave Li Han Song and the rest a look and said, "Let's go. We'll patrol the catacombs everywhere to prevent chaos." Li Han Song and the rest quickly followed. Very soon, In the Heavenly Department's concourse, only Fong Ping and a few staff members were left. At the same time, 107 images lit up on the concourse's screen. These were surveillance images of the passageways in Foreign Territory 107. On every screen, there were people. When they saw Fong Ping's figure, whether it was the Sino people or people from other countries, they were all full of confidence and greeted loudly. Fong Ping was overseeing Earth. If there were any movements in Foreign Territory 107, he would receive the news immediately and rush over in time. Modern technology was somewhat useful at this moment. At least Fong Ping did not have to look at foreign territories one by one and ask them one by one. If there were any abnormalities, he would be able to detect it immediately. Fong Ping did not say anything. He nodded slightly and stood in the concourse. After a while, he said, "If there are any abnormalities in any place, report immediately. Today, I will be waiting here all the way, supporting all parties at any time. If you encounter an attack from the catacombs, retreat quickly if you are no match for them. I'd like to see if there are any catacombs martial artists who dare to kill their way out of the passageway." These words were said in a powerful and resonant voice. On the screen, the martial artists from various countries were extremely excited. With Fong Ping around, even if they were separated by a screen, everyone felt much more at ease. Nowadays, many of the paragons from various worlds had left. There were not many left. Fong Ping still had the battle record of killing a paragon rank 5. In addition, the Netherworld King was also in the dark. They did not think that anyone would dare to kill their way out at this time. At most, they would just give up on the passageway. Sooner or later, they would still be able to kill their way back. Looking at everyone's confident faces on the screen, Fong Ping smiled, but his eyes revealed a hint of helplessness. He could not split himself. There were many things that he could not do. At this moment, he had no choice but to maintain his presence in front of everyone to give them confidence. Otherwise, if he really disappeared, he might cause a huge impact. Although that was what he said, Fong Ping was already prepared to leave. At this moment, Fong Ping quickly transmitted his voice to the outside. "Big Cat, I'll leave a clone here, but the clone can't last for too long. Moreover, the clone I'll leave behind is an imperishable substance clone without any intelligence. If there are any abnormal situations, immediately use my name. Disguise yourself as my voice and give me a reply. As for you, you have to inform me of the changes on Earth in time. I'll rush back as soon as possible." Fong Ping transmitted his voice to Big Cat. This was also his only way at the moment. He had to go to the catacombs. If he kept guarding Earth, then he could not do many things. Moreover, if he did not leave Earth, he could only be trampled on. He could not break the current stalemate. As for continuing to wait, waiting for himself to become stronger, Fong Ping was still worried about an important problem. Li Zhen. His lies might be exposed. It had been almost a month since he left the catacombs. Li Zhen had not shown up for a long time. This was not in line with Li Zhen's character. Even if Li Zhen's injuries were not light, a month was more or less enough. Last time, Big Cat said that he discovered an Emperor-level powerhouse who was suspected to be from an evil sect. The other party was probably only worried about Li Zhen now. If Li Zhen did not show up, the other party might see through him. Actually, someone is already testing me. Fong Ping pondered in his heart. Yes, it was Ji Yao. Perhaps it was not Ji Yao's subjective thoughts. But this woman, Ji Yao, was reckless. Li Zhen did not show up even when Universe Bao and the others were threatening Earth. What did that mean? If Li Zhen was not outside the heavenly cemetery, or if his injuries were so serious that he could not recover for a month, then it would cause a series of chain reactions. Therefore, I have to mess up the situation. Fong Ping thought to himself. In his mind, Big Cat's voice rang. "Liar, are you going to lie again?" Fong Ping started to lie again. By making a fake avatar here, everyone in the 107 outer domains would know that he was here. As for Fong Ping, who came to verify whether it was the real one, they probably did not expect Fong Ping to dare to leave at this time. If Fong Ping's whereabouts were really exposed and he was in the catacombs, then something big would probably happen in the catacombs. Those powerhouses would not have the energy to care about the humans. This is not a lie, this is saving people. Big Cat, you don't understand. This is called the empty city stratagem. You don't have to do anything. Just help me maintain the existence of the avatar. At the crucial moment, pretend to be me, and talk will do. Pretend to be you and talk? Big Cat struggled for a moment. It's very tiring. How long do you need to walk? Very soon. Fong Ping calculated. At most a day. If I'm fast, maybe I'll be back in 10 hours. All right. Big Cat agreed, feeling a little wronged. It was time to work again. Fong Ping comforted it, feeling helpless. There was no other way. At this moment, he could only let Big Cat keep an eye on him. Unbeknownst to the few staff members, Fong Ping's mentality fluctuated. The next moment, Fong Ping acted as if there was no one else around. He left the avatar on the spot like a real person, standing there with his eyes closed. As for Fong Ping himself, he quickly disappeared from the Sky Division. Not long after he disappeared in the concourse, Fong Ping's avatar suddenly opened its eyes and said in a calm voice that the headquarters remembered something. Big Cat, the human hero, likes to eat all kinds of cat food. Previously, only Sino Nation has been supplying it. Now that everyone is here from various countries on Earth, go buy some cat food and snacks of different flavors and have someone send them to Magic City. Hurry, the faster the better. In the concourse, the few Sky Division staff members, including the 107 martial artists on the screen, were all stunned. At a time like this, he wants us to buy cat food and snacks? Minister Fong always did whatever he wanted. Minister Fong, Fong Ping said seriously, this is a big deal. The headquarters needs it. Big Cat is very important. The survival of mankind is related to it. We must satisfy its needs. Everyone was speechless. Didn't Big Cat go to the Sky Cemetery now? Was there a need to be so anxious? Still, this was not a big deal. Everyone said, Minister Fong will arrange for it to be sent to Magic City by air immediately. More. Fong Ping said seriously again, more. 10,000 tons is not too little. Go and prepare it as soon as possible. Remember, I want all kinds of flavors, all kinds of specialties, all kinds of delicious food. Fong Ping made a lot of requests. Everyone did not know whether to laugh or cry, but they did not refute. Whatever you say. It was just snacks. It was not a big deal for Fong Ping, a person who stood at the peak of the human world, to want it. At this moment, Fong Ping was also satisfied. The liar had left. He was the one who wanted him to disguise himself and talk to him. I've strictly followed the liar's instructions. As for the cat food, that was what the liar owed me. Collecting some interest now is not a big deal. After swindling the cat food, Big Cat was still sunbathing on the rooftop of the building outside. He thought for a while. What else did he need? This was a rare opportunity. If he asked for more this time, he could save it for many years. Therefore, the next scene made everyone not know whether to laugh or cry, but they also felt relieved. Minister Fong was not in a hurry at all. He was not worried at all. He even had the time to do these things. From the looks of it, there was no need to worry too much. For this cat, Brother Cat from the headquarters specially makes some big blankets, the kind that is very, very big. I want it soft and thick. I want 100 beds. Send them over quickly. Also, I want all kinds of drinks too. If it's wine, give me some too. Right, I want all kinds of dried fish too. It's best if there's live fish. Fresh ones are even better. In the hall, Fong Ping's avatar was almost drooling. This scene made everyone speechless. Did he want to eat it? Or did Big Cat want to eat it? The cat was not on Earth. Could it be that Minister Fong wanted to eat it himself? They had never heard that Minister Fong had this hobby. Sigh, the hobbies of powerhouses were really hard to understand. The martial artists from various countries lamented in their hearts, but they did not stop and quickly made arrangements. These things did not need them to show up. A phone call could be done quickly. It was just some mundane things. If it was cultivation resources, everyone would be troubled. However, some food, drinks, clothes, and other things were really not a problem. In the distance, Big Cat was happy like crazy. The fat on his fat face was trembling. How awesome! Whatever he wanted, he had it. Before this, he was still struggling for such a long time. He did not want to fall asleep while watching, but now he did not feel sleepy at all. Big Cat decided that this time he would get his hands on the next 10,000 years' worth of supplies. 10 hours. 10 hours might not be enough. The swindler had better come back later. 24 hours was more or less the same. Don't come back so early, or else I won't be able to gather the 10,000 years' worth of supplies. The cat was delighted. Soon it began to talk about food, drinks, toys, and so on. Later, when Big Cat talked about nuclear bombs, the martial artists' faces changed. What did he want that for? Seeing this, Big Cat quickly changed his words. Didn't he want to keep some good stuff? During the Three Realms era, divine weapons were very powerful. He had kept a lot of them. Now he heard that the human world's nuclear bombs were also very powerful. Maybe 10,000 years later, he could take them out and use them as divine weapons. Big Cat did not think of this in the past, so he did not have any inventory. Otherwise, it would be good to keep more fruits and vegetables. They were all treasures now. Big Cat was very patient and kept on talking. It was also rare for the others to interact with Fong Ping. Whatever Fong Ping said, they just listened. Unfortunately, Minister Fong did not talk about martial arts, which made everyone feel a little regretful. Chapter 1045. South Capitol Catacombs. What Fong Ping did not know was that the cat was pretending to be him to cheat food and drink. It was a classic case of having the right to not let it expire. This was Fong Ping's first visit to the catacombs in South Capitol. This time, Fong Ping did not pretend to be a weak martial artist. Right now, Fong Ping was impersonating the rank 7 CLA, an inspector from the Heavenly Division, inside the catacombs in South Capitol, Jingnan City. The rank 9 powerhouse guarding the catacombs in South Capitol was a rank 9 that Fong Ping was relatively unfamiliar with. His surname was Sunday. On the city wall, Fong Ping and Grandmaster Sun Xiang gazed into the distance. Sun Xiang sighed. Patrolman Xie. Old Chin went in after breaking through to rank 9. There hasn't been much activity these few days. I've tried to persuade Old Chin, but there are some things that can't be resolved just by persuasion. Old Chin said that there were still a lot of rank 9s in Sino Nation. With me holding the fort here, he would be at ease. If he's lucky, he might be able to advance further. There's no way to persuade him otherwise. Fong Ping said in a low voice, entering the catacombs rashly, and he's still a rank 9. Forget it. Vice-Chancellor Chin isn't stationed in the military department, so there's no need to be too harsh. However, if anything happens, it'll be a huge loss to Sino Nation. The rank 9 in charge could not easily leave the passageway they were guarding. Even if they were to leave, they would have to report it and wait for someone to take their place. Chun Yaoding was not an overseeing expert. Unless there was an order from his superiors, it was not a big deal for him to enter. Fong Ping used the excuse of investigating Chin Yaoting during his patrol this time. A rank 9 who had gone into the catacombs for a few days and had not returned was still highly regarded. Chun Yaoding was still a newly ascended rank 9. Now that he had not returned for a few days, it was not too surprising that Xie Lei came to investigate the situation. Fong Ping paused, then continued. I heard that Vice-Chancellor Chen went to the catacombs this time to look for Junior Sister Chen. Old Sun, has there been any news from Junior Sister Chen recently? Sun Xiang sighed no. At the end of February, that brat Yunqi entered the catacombs. At the time, I was stationed here to oversee the catacombs. That girl has just advanced to rank 7. I told her to just train in the periphery for a while. At that time, Old Qin and Minister Fong went to the king's battleground. I was concerned about the situation there, so I didn't pay much attention to this side. Sun Xiang continued. In the end, when the matter at the king's battlefield was over, that girl disappeared without a trace. Before that, I even sensed her aura. You sensed it before. Fong Ping furrowed his brows slightly. If that's the case, she was within a 100 li radius earlier? Sun Xiang was a rank 9 martial artist. If a powerhouse completely concealed his aura, it would be difficult for him to sense someone stronger than him, unless he was very close. If they were weaker than him, he would still be able to detect them within a few dozen li. If the other party's aura was completely exposed, Sun Xiang could more or less capture some of the rank 7 Qin Yunqi's aura fluctuations within a 100-mile radius. Yes, I sensed it just before the war broke out. That girl didn't go too deep. She knew the danger too. She mainly challenged some rank 7 martial artists. I saw that she went to those small towns, so I didn't bother too much. In the outer region, other than those royal cities, there were also some small cities built by rank 7 powerhouses. Chen Yunqi did not venture deep into the city, nor did she have the guts to challenge the lord of Royal City. She had gone to a small city to fight with the city lord. Even if the city lord of Monarch City rushed over, she still had a chance to escape. Moreover, when the weather changed, those rank 8 and 9 powerhouses did not have the heart to leave the royal city. At that time, Sun Xiang sensed the fluctuations of the battle. Rank 7 powerhouses fought. Chen Yunqi was an MCMAU powerhouse, and she did not lack divine weapons. The other party's ability was not considered strong among the rank 7 powerhouses, so Sun Xiang was not too worried. In the end, the impact of the weather changed was too great. He did not sense it for a period of time, so he did not think too much about it. After the weather changed ended, he lost his senses. At first, he thought that the weather changed was too great, so Chen Yunqi left there and did not continue to fight. However, there was no trace of Chen Yunqi for more than 20 days. He also knew that something must have gone wrong. If not, Chen Yaoting would not have entered the catacombs to look for her as soon as he broke through. The city where Junior sister Chen fought before, it was destroyed. Sun Xiang said in a low voice. I went to investigate after that. The city was destroyed. However, the catacombs is very chaotic now. I only went to investigate after 5 days. I don't know who destroyed it or how. How did the catacombs react? Sun Xiang shook his head and said, there wasn't much of a reaction. Minister Zhang and the rest disappeared together with those true kings. The catacombs are also in chaos internally. Some powerhouses from other territories want to go to the inner territory. There are also some who want to conquer other royal cities. Wars will also break out. These few days, even the royal cities are at war. Destroying a small affiliated city did not cause too much of a stir. Fong Ping thought for a moment, nodded, and said, I understand. However, I have to go and see the situation. Is Junior Sister Chen the president of MCMAU's Martial Arts Society or a member of the Heaven Division? I have to investigate. Sun Xiang was a little worried. I can't leave this place. I have to keep watch in South Capital City. Patrolman Xia, although you have reached rank 7, the situation in the catacombs is indeed very chaotic now. If you encounter trouble here, Sino Nation is opening up battlefields in other catacombs now. I'm afraid it will be very troublesome. It's okay. Fong Ping smiled and said, I'll go and take a look. I won't go too deep. Old Sun, you can keep watch here. Oh, right. Is there any movement from the Luofu Mountain in the eastern boundary zone? Not really. We are thousands of miles away from the boundary zone. It's hard for us to know what happened there. Understood. Having said that, Fong Ping leaped down from the city. Sun Xiang wanted to say something, but hesitated. In the end, he sighed and said nothing. He felt that the rank 7 CLA was too risky. It was not suitable for him to go deep alone. Although there was no big war breaking out in South Capital City's catacombs, there was no movement from Chunyinshi and Chinyaoting until now. Obviously, it was a little chaotic in the dark. Xia Lei was MCMAU's genius and also a member of the Heaven Division. If he went missing here, South Capital City would be in serious trouble. Fang Ping did not care much about these. After leaving South Capital City, Fang Ping hurried toward the city where Qin Yunqi went missing. After a while, Fang Ping arrived. What was originally a small city was now completely deserted. Recently, the catacombs was a little chaotic. The palace's control over the outer boundary of the catacombs had declined. Some people wanted to kill their way back into the inner boundary. Some wanted to unify the outer boundary. Now, there was also a fight in the catacombs. The destruction of a small city under the watch of a rank 7 powerhouse was not considered a big deal. Here, there were still some bloodstains and corpses left behind. In the city, there were still some demons. These demons were devouring those corpses. Sensing Fang Ping's rank 7 aura, these middle and low-ranked monsters fled quickly, not daring to stay. Fang Ping did not care about them. He landed on top of the city wall and sensed carefully. After a while, Fang Ping frowned. They were all dead. Almost all the powerhouses in the city were dead. Someone came to this small city later, probably to clean up the battlefield and collect some useful resources. Both humans and the catacombs might have people coming here. Fang Ping sensed that the small mineral vein underground had traces of being excavated. Everyone in the city died at the same time. A powerhouse's mentality outburst killed them. Although the small city is not big, to kill everyone in the city, they must at least have the ability of a rank 9. A rank 9 outburst could kill middle and low-ranked, but high-ranked ones could not be killed by pressure, unless the absolute suppression was almost the same. Fang Ping searched around again and did not find any high-ranked powerhouses' corpses. He did not know if they were devoured by monsters or picked up by people later. The city lord of this place should have been killed. Otherwise, the other party would not have no news at all when the city was destroyed. Fang Ping searched again. Soon, he leaped into the air and landed on a nearby city wall. The city wall was a little broken. Fang Ping took a look and saw the sword marks on it. Stream swordsmanship. This was by Ruashi's self-created combat technique. It was a middle-ranked combat technique, not too powerful. However, Chunyinshi liked this set of combat techniques and felt that it suited her very well. She started learning under Bai Ruashi and became Lu Fengru's student halfway through. However, after Bai Ruashi returned, although no one said anything, Chunyinshi was considered to be under Bai Ruashi's tutelage. Bai Ruashi's stream swordsmanship was also taught to her. Chunyinshi had learned it quite well. There was indeed a battle here. The stream swordsmanship left marks on the city wall. This means that the city lord who fought with her here has average ability. Otherwise, the stream swordsmanship would not have been defeated and the city wall damaged. This kind of ability would not be able to do anything to Chunyinshi. Chunyinshi had a lot of treasures on her. She had fought a lot in the past few years. After entering rank 7 without the ability of upper stage or peak rank 7, it would not be easy to defeat her. Is it the catacombs powerhouses who attacked, or is it the bounded domain? Fang Ping looked far to the east, frowning. He could not delay too much. He had to return to Earth as soon as possible. His goal this time was Mount Luofu. Forget it. If I interrogate the nearby royal city powerhouses now, no matter how secretive it is, it will be easily discovered. I'll destroy Mount Luofu. If I can't find them, it won't be too late to come back. At the thought of this, Fang Ping hurried toward the eastern bounded domain. At this moment, Fang Ping restrained his aura, shattered the space, and left without attracting anyone's attention. At the same time, 8 southern regions and 10 southern regions soon broke out into a great war. Jiang Kuei, and the other's goal was very simple. They came to kill people in exchange for imperishable substances. Once they entered the catacombs, they quickly rushed to the nearest royal city. With so many powerhouses entering the territory, the catacombs' powerhouses quickly sensed it. The royal city's city lord, who was the nearest, quickly led the high-ranked powerhouses under his command and fled, without the slightest intention of staying. Not all of them fled. The powerhouses of Dongling Catacombs and Behu Catacombs quickly gathered and began to rush in the direction of Mount Royal Sea. Recently, the catacombs' few royal courts had also issued orders. Once they encountered danger, they were to abandon the city and flee to Mount Royal Sea. In the direction of Mount Royal Sea, there were now messengers from the various royal courts. Very soon, they would ask for help from the royal courts to reinforce them. Behu Catacombs, in the direction of Mount Royal Sea. In the Behu Catacombs today, Mount Royal Sea was no longer guarded by human powerhouses. In reality, the humans guarding had long since evacuated Mount Royal Sea. The paragons had all left. Staying here alone was courting death. Previously, it was to inform the paragons and act as messengers. Now, it was no longer necessary. At this moment, outside Mount Royal Sea, an incomparably tall platform appeared out of thin air. Universe Bao brought dozens of rank 9 powerhouses and stepped into the air. Among the crowd, Ji Yao was protected by a few powerhouses. She also stepped into the air with a cold expression. When they were on the high platform, Universe Bao laughed. "Your Highness, don't worry. With me here, Your Highness will not be in danger." Ji Yao came here because he was half coerced. He was worried that if he left the imperial city, Ji Yao would play tricks. He was also worried that Ji Yao would secretly harm him. That was why he brought Ji Yao along. After saying that, Universe Bao laughed. Previously, there was news that the Land of Rebirth wants to open a new battlefield in the outer territory. Recently, the army has been gathering. I have also understood Fong Ping. With his personality, uniting the 5 southern territories might be what he wants to do. As expected, Fong Ping is still eager for grandiose achievements. In the end, he chose 8 southern territories and 10 southern territories. Although Fong Ping did not leak the news, Universe Bao still guessed it. Right now, Universe Bao was also triumphant. He looked like he had the pearl of wisdom in his hands. Fong Ping was only SO. Uniting the 5 southern territories? It was a good idea, but how could it be that simple? There were not only outer territories in Divine Land. As Universe Bao spoke, he continued, "Your Highness, you asked me to coerce the Land of Rebirth. In my opinion, as long as we repel their attack this time, or even cause them some damage, the Land of Rebirth will feel the royal court's determination. They will certainly not dare to continue fighting us to the death. When that time comes, the plan to coerce them to retreat will be a success. In this way, Your Highness test can be considered completed." Having said that, he smiled and said, "I have completed the first 2 stages very smoothly. Your Highness, if I succeed this time," Ji Yao said coldly, "I will keep my word. When that time comes, you will be the Deputy Temple Master of Destiny Hall." "Thank you very much, Your Highness." Universe Bao cupped his hands, not overly courteous. The high platform was not built to pretend, but because they could not go up to the peak of Mount Royal Sea. Ordinary rank 9s would be sliced into pieces instantly if they went up. The reason why they built such a high platform was so that they could better observe the situation inside. Across the dozens of miles wide Grand Canyon, Universe Bao saw the powerhouses that were fleeing for their lives. He frowned slightly and said, "These foreign martial artists are cowardly and cowardly. The 10 southern regions have many divine generals, more than 20 of them, 50 to 60 venerables, and over 100 commanders. They don't even have the slightest desire to fight. These people want to return to the restricted area to seize power? Wishful thinking. On the Earth side, their forces were divided into 2, and they had to guard the other passageways. there were not many powerhouses. On the other side, there were more than 30 rank 9s. Now, however, the catacombs were fleeing madly, which made Universe bow slightly dissatisfied. Soon, however, Universe bow frowned, somewhat understanding why these people did not dare to fight. Wu Quishan, Su Yunfei Luoyu, Yu Wu Hua, Li Wuqi, Universe bow frowned. So these people had come. They were all top-notch rank 9 powerhouses. It was normal that the outer territory did not dare to resist. However, he was not afraid of anything. Right now, there were many powerhouses around him. That's good too. This time we've hurt them. I'm afraid they won't dare to come to Godland to cause trouble again. As he said that, Universe Bao looked at Ji Yao, smiling. Your Highness, let the neighboring territories, the powerhouses from the cities that belong to the palace attack the land of rebirth. Create pressure on them. Also restrain Fang Ping to prevent him from entering Godland. He would not act rashly unless the other territories attacked, even if they did not attack the land of rebirth. Based on the land of rebirth situation, Fang Ping would still have to guard it. If he did not guard it, what if it was breached? Of course, the catacombs did not want to breach it now, even if they had the ability to do so. The internal strife had not been quelled yet. It was not worth it to suddenly start a full-scale war with the land of rebirth. Ji Yao frowned. Seeing that, Universe Bao said mildly, Your Highness, if I can't restrain Fang Ping, then I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to complete Your Highness test. I'm only a god general after all, not a true king. Universe Bao said again, If I fail the test, then it's not my fault. In short, if he did not restrain Fang Ping, he would not attack. If he did not attack, then so be it, but that would be Ji Yao's fault, not his. If that was the case, then he would be taking over the Heavenly Mandate Army openly. Ji Yao snorted coldly, feeling a little helpless. Since Universe Bao had brought her along, she had no choice but to come. Now, Ji Yao was a little worried. If Fang Ping really came for him, would he kill him along the way? Besides, Universe Bao was smarter than she thought. Fang Ping might not dare to venture deep into Godland at this time. Also, whether Phoenix Sparrow had spread the news, she was not sure. Rumor had it that Phoenix Sparrow was killed by the longevity sword. Ji Yao felt uneasy. At this moment, she had no choice but to speak. She shouted, passed down the order. The 3 southern regions, 6 southern regions, 12 southern regions, all forces of the royal court, attack the land of rebirth. As soon as she finished speaking, a huge seal appeared and covered the void. Soon, a powerhouse 100 miles away shouted loudly and began to pass down the order. The catacombs was too big. Non-true king powerhouses could not transmit their voice far. However, the catacombs were not unprepared. Right now, at the Mount Royal Sea Defense Line, a large number of powerhouses were deployed as messengers. One by one, the order could be passed down quickly. Your Highness is wise. Universe Bao laughed. This was good. This way, the pressure on him would be greatly reduced. He only needed to face those rank 9 invaders. It was a pity that the mysterious powerhouse suddenly disappeared. According to his subordinates, he had urgent matters to attend to and left first. Otherwise, Universe Bao might not be afraid of Fang Ping. Just as Universe Bao was thinking about this, above his head in the void, true Lord Earth Wisdom was hiding in the void rift, observing the situation in the North Lake Catacombs. Not here, not a single one. Earth Wisdom frowned slightly. She came to the Outland this time because she knew that humans would open up a battlefield in Outland. She thought that she might meet Wang Jinyang and the rest. But now, not a single one was here. Those people actually did not enter the land. Are they still in the land of rebirth? Or are they in 8 southern territories? Since North Lake was gone, what about Donglin? Earth Wisdom fell into deep thought. Maybe they were over there. She took a look inside again. Her mentality was strong, and the range of her senses was even further. She had already recognized one person. Wu Quishan. This was Fong Ping's teacher. According to some of the previous plans, they should capture or kill him. However, Earth Wisdom was worried that it would attract Fong Ping's attention. If that happened, it would be difficult to lure Wang Jinyang and the rest into the land. Go to 8 southern territories and take a look. If it doesn't work, I'll add fuel to the fire and let these guys from the fake dynasty win. The pressure is too much. Are Wang Jinyang and the rest still not showing up? And that guy Ground Oddity, where did he go? Earth Wisdom frowned slightly. Ground Oddity went to deal with Ji Hong and King Pingshan. But King Pingshan simply sealed up the royal territory and refused to come out. At this time, it would be troublesome if the other party ran away. Since King Pingshan did not move, then there was no need to care about him for the time being. Ground Oddity dealt with Ji Hong. Could it be that he was entangled? I'll go to 8 southern territories and take a look first. Thinking of this, Earth Wisdom's figure flashed away without causing any commotion. The people below did not know that a powerhouse had just left above their heads. Minister Fong, chaos has broken out in Dongwu catacombs. A powerhouse is approaching Dongwu City. At this moment, Heaven Division. While no one noticed anything unusual, a cat sat on a huge sofa. It was soft and comfortable, and while eating, it said vaguely, "Did they start fighting?" They haven't started fighting yet. In everyone's eyes, the person sitting on the sofa was Fong Ping. They did not notice that Fong Ping's avatar was being used as a cushion by the cat. The cat did not care. Its mentality was strong. These people were not as strong as it was. It could simply guide them, and they could not see the real situation. While eating, the cat said, "If they haven't started fighting, then don't worry about it." "Oh, right, send me some more food. I'm hungry." The dried fish just now was not bad. I've never eaten it before. You there, go get some more. At the side, a few logistics personnel of Heaven Division looked helpless. What was wrong with the minister today? Although Fong Ping had his flaws, he was not a glutton. The key point was eating, but eating dried fish. Sigh, there was nothing they could say. Minister, chaos has broken out in the West Sea catacombs. A powerhouse has summoned an army and is threatening West Sea City. They haven't started fighting? Not yet, the cat said indifferently. Then why should we care? If we can win, then fight. If we can't, then retreat. They won't dare to attack. The headquarters, is here. The cat patted its round belly, not worried at all. Fight, fight, fight. It would be fine as long as it ate happily. When it was done eating, it was done fighting. If it really could not win, then it would just call the swindlers back. It would not fight. When everyone heard his tone, they did not know whether to be happy or helpless. Was this not important? Why did it feel like Minister Fong did not care at all? Could it be that he had a card up his sleeve? Soon, someone laughed and said, "Minister Fong is far-sighted. He should have a way to deal with it." The cat listened for a while, blinked its big eyes, and said happily, "Of course. Actually, you guys don't have to worry. The headquarters used to learned a lot of skills from the cat. They even wrote an IOU for 1,000,000 tons of cat food to the cat. They used so much cat food in exchange for a few very powerful skills. One of them is very powerful, the Heaven and Earth locking invincible defense barrier. When this cat, Brother Cat from the headquarters, comes out, I will definitely return the cat food to him. Everyone, remember to remind me when the time comes. Tell the others, don't be afraid. If you can't win, just run back. I can use the Heaven and Earth locking invincible defense barrier to lock the passageway for a day. They can't come in. The cat felt that after eating so much and taking so much, it was fine to do some work. Was it not just a mentality blockade? At most, it would make a trip to lock it. Its mentality was so strong. How could those martial artists below the pinnacle fight their way in? It was just a small matter. It said it confidently. The others looked at it strangely. What Heaven and Earth locking invincible defense barrier? They knew that Fang Ping liked to name things randomly. In the past, he named his combat technique 10,000 teachers, Fang Ping technique. They did not expect that he still had this hobby now. The key point was, Minister Fang was a little strange today. Owed the cat 1,000,000 tons of cat food? What was he trying to say by saying this to them? Was he asking them to give up the cat food? Was Minister Fang stingy to this extent? Everyone was exhausted. It was so difficult to communicate with Minister Fang. Often, the donkey's lips did not match the horse's mouth. After 2 or 3 sentences, Fang Ping started eating again. Eat if you want, but don't always eat those snacks and dried fish. I wonder if it was the cat or you who ate them. The cat did not care about them. They could talk after eating and drinking. When the scammer came back, he would say that he had contributed greatly and used the heaven and earth locking invincible defense barrier on him. The scammer would be embarrassed to scold me, right? Also, now that everyone knew about the 1,000,000 tons of cat food, was the scammer going to renege on the debt? When the time came, he would show up and ask for the debt directly. Everyone would know that he owed him cat food. The more the cat thought about it, the more pleased it was. Maybe he could write a contract now, or let them start a global conference, a global live broadcast? The cat leaned on the sofa, wagging its tail. Should he do this? If he did, the scammer would suffer. The cat laughed so hard that its tongue was sticking out. If the whole world knew that the scammer owed a lot of cat food, that would be interesting. No, the scammer will definitely be angry. If he's angry, what if he doesn't pay up? How about I pretend to be at a disadvantage and go to other places to lock up the passageway? Then my vitality will be greatly damaged. The cat rested its chin on its paws. Was that a good idea? Chapter 1046. South Capitol Catacombs, easternmost area. The domain was as quiet as ever. Tributary of the Forbidden Sea. The first time he crossed the Forbidden Sea, Fang Ping was trembling with fear. Now, however, he was incomparably calm. He floated at a low altitude above the Forbidden Sea, not even looking down. Instead, he stared at the bounded domain on the opposite side, Mount Luofu. He had never been to Mount Luofu before. However, there was not much difference in the layout of the domain lands. They were all divided into 2 parts, the inner and outer parts. The outer perimeter was usually where the disciples lived or where the demons were raised. The inner area was where their foundation lay. The Luofu Mountain was one of the 10 great grotto heavens, and its sect master was also an emperor-level expert. This time, the venerable sovereigns of 3 different realms joined the battle, causing the humans to be unable to evacuate in time, and many peerless apex experts were killed or injured. Now, the de-venerable Luofu wasn't here. How many powerhouses were there in the sect? Fang Ping's gaze kept changing. He had already prepared how to enter Mount Luofu. That day at the king's battlefield, he killed many people from Mount Luofu. Among them, the Luofu Mountain's leader had a storage ring. Fang Ping had found it, and the Luofu Mountain's token was inside the ring. In the past, such a top-level 9 expert could open the boundary wall with his token. The key is the size of the commotion. The opening of a domain caused quite a commotion. Fang Ping was worried that someone would notice. If a dead person suddenly opened the door, he would be exposed immediately. Find a secluded place and sneak in. That might work. Actually, it was best to wait here. When the person came out, they would capture one and interrogate him for information. Then they would get rid of the imposter. But Fang Ping did not have the time. He did not know how long it would take for someone from the Luofu Mountain to come out. Now that the 3 domains were all sealed off from the outside world, who knew when they would be able to meet people again? Was Yunqi captured by them? Or kill him? Fang Ping's gaze was cold and stern. He frowned and quickly suppressed these thoughts. If Luofu Mountain did it, what was their purpose? Threatening me? However, Luofu Mountain did not reveal anything to the outside world. Fang Ping had a nagging feeling that Chen Yunqi's disappearance this time might not necessarily be because someone had captured her to threaten him. Few people would do something like capturing someone to threaten a powerhouse. It was meaningless. The reason why experts were experts was because they were decisive. When fighting, he would never surrender just because his family and friends were being threatened. All the experts knew one thing. Strength was the foundation. Only a fool would do such a brainless thing like crippling one's martial arts. In the end, it would only result in one's family and friends dying together. If it was really people from Mount Luofu or other forces who had captured Qin Yunxi, Fang Ping felt that the possibility of them threatening him or Qin Yaoding was not high. Then why? Thoughts flashed through Fang Ping's mind, and he had a general idea of what was going on. Perhaps it was to force him to reveal his secrets. He, Fang Ping, was too much of a monster. He was so monstrous that even he was afraid of himself. In less than 3 years, an ordinary person had reached the pinnacle. Perhaps these people would think that Qin Yunxi knew something. Qin Yunxi was Fang Ping's office director in the Martial Arts Society. She was also Fang Ping's office director in the Heavenly Division. Rumors about Fang Ping and Qin Yunxi had been circulating in the outside world since a long time ago. There were not many people close to Fang Ping. People like Old Wang were very strong, and it was very difficult to capture them. But Qin Yunxi, rank 7 was nothing. Fang Yuan's family members were even weaker, but it was almost impossible to meet them in the catacombs. Do you want to interrogate Yunxi about my secret? Fang Ping frowned. Qin Yunxi actually knew some things. Even if Fang Ping did not say it, she could guess a lot. But it did not matter much. At this moment, it did not matter even if Fang Ping knew some of his secrets. The key was, if Qin Yunxi did not say anything, he was afraid that there would be a lot of trouble. If these people really captured her and interrogated her for information, they would not treat her well. Whatever, let's sneak in first. Fang Ping looked around. The bounded zone was very long. He would find a more remote place to enter first. A more remote place. Maybe it would be better to enter from the sea. The bounded zone usually has an energy pool that is directly connected to the Forbidden Sea. The boundary wall over there is slightly weaker. Demons will often appear nearby. A little movement might not attract attention. Fang Ping thought, and in an instant he dove into the sea. In the sea, Fang Ping glanced around and quickly found a few demons. Near the bounded zone, there had always been demons wandering around. However, there were not as many as other places. Maybe because of the recent riots in the Forbidden Sea, some of these demons left. Fang Ping did not stand on ceremony. His mentality erupted, intimidating a few monsters. With a slash of the god-slaying saber, he killed a few rank 9 demons almost in the blink of an eye. After keeping the corpses, Fang Ping did not look back and quickly swam toward the bottom of the bounded zone. He had already sensed that the energy in front seemed to be much thicker. That might be the water outlet. Mount Luofu. It was like a fairyland. The sky palace floated in the air, its scale incomparably grand. It was not lifeless. At this moment, in the Mount Luofu Immortal Palace, there were many people. There were women dressed as palace maids, walking around from time to time. There were martial artists dressed in armor, patrolling the Sky Palace in teams. In the Sky Palace, there were monsters roaring, young men and women chatting and laughing, and there was faint celestial music. This was Mount Luofu. It was not as desolate as Kuokang Mountain. Back then, there was only one person and one cat, sleeping separately. Mount Luofu was not as prosperous as it was now. However, before Venerable Emperor came out of the mountain, he woke up all the sleeping disciples. Among the 10 grotto heavens, Mount Luofu had suffered a lot of losses back then. However, there were also many survivors, much better than other blessed grotto heavens. Not only Mount Luofu, Mount Wangu, Mount Weiyu, and other places, the losses were not as great as imagined. At this moment, Mount Luofu, in the central area of the Sky Palace, in an incomparably glorious, huge palace, With the rank 9 monster plant trunk as the main material, the metal comparable to the material of rank 7 or 8 divine weapons as the walls, and the huge energy stones filled with energy as the floor tiles, this huge palace was built. In front of the palace door, 3 magnificent words hung. Fong Ping might not recognize them, even if he saw them. Azure Emperor Palace. Mount Luofu's venerable emperor was also known as Venerable Emperor Qingjing. Azure Emperor Palace was his palace. At this moment, in the huge main hall, there was a human voice. The huge throne in the middle of the main hall was empty. On the throne, there were huge gemstones inlaid. Even if there was no one, the throne exuded a faint pressure, making people not dare to look directly at it. Fong Ping had seen such a throne in Xuanda Grotto Heaven. At that time, he had guessed that it might be a desperate realm demon's demon core. And the truth was it was indeed so. This was also a proof of a battle record. It meant that the owner of the throne had once killed a desperate realm demon and left the other party's demon core. This was something that only an emperor level could do. At this moment, the huge throne was empty. Below, there were 6 huge seats on the left and right. 12 thrones. This was a treatment that only the top could have. Only the top could have a seat in the Azure Emperor Palace. This was proof of identity and status, as well as proof of strength. Other martial artists, no matter how high their status was or how strong their background was, if they were not at the top, they had to stand and speak in the Azure Emperor Palace. The main hall was not flat, but divided into steps. The Venerable Emperor's throne was high up, and the top's throne was slightly lower. Below it, the 9 steps were separated again, and this was where the others stood. At this moment, there were many people in the main hall. On the 12 thrones, there were also people. On the 3rd seat on the left sat a young man, dressed in a brocade robe, with long hair draped over his shoulders. At this time, he gently rubbed his temples, as if he was worried about something. A few female martial artists dressed as palace maids carefully placed the dishes on the table in front of the throne and poured wine into the wine glasses. "Perfected lord, it's time to eat," an extremely beautiful woman cautiously reminded him with a face full of concern. "Perfected lord, don't hurt your body. I just picked fresh immortal fruits from the myriad orchard today. Perfected lord, try it and see if it's to your taste." The young man raised his head, casually picked up the wine glass, and took a sip. He frowned slightly, as if he was not very satisfied. Soon, under the woman's uneasy gaze, he put down the wine glass heavily. The sound of the wine glass hitting the table also made the whispers below quiet down. The young man's face was cold as he said indifferently, "Noisy. You only know how to be noisy. You don't even know that disaster is imminent. If this goes on, how can Luofu Mountain prosper?" Below, a middle-aged man in a long robe with a long sword at his waist bowed slightly and said, "Ninth Elder, the sect's only major enemy now is the human world." Fong Ping of the human world considers himself the king of the human world and is extremely overbearing. Previously, sect master attacked in the graveyard of the gods, which will definitely cause Fong Ping to be dissatisfied. "Nonsense!" The young man scolded. "I don't want to hear this nonsense. I summoned you here to let you decide if you want to cooperate with the divine sect." The young man had a headache and said coldly, "The divine sect wants to use us as pawns, as bait, to lure and kill Fong Ping. It sounds nice, and there's no danger, but how can I not know that the divine sect is trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone? If we really lure Fong Ping out, the divine sect might just stand by and watch us kill each other. It's really hateful." After saying that, he frowned again and said, "But Fong Ping is becoming stronger so fast. Luofu Mountain is here, and there are no secrets of the Outland." As expected, Luofu Mountain, Hutong Mountain, and a few other clans are the first forces that Fong Ping wants to deal with other than the 4 dynasties. He also had a sense of crisis. Everyone knew that humans would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. The people of the Outland could just close the Outland and hide in the void. You might not be able to find them then. But the bounded domain was here. They could not run away even if they wanted to. If not for the catacombs restraining the 3 major domains, they might have already started fighting with the human world. The young man did not care much before, but after Fong Ping killed True Lord Earthly Zhou, he was a little worried. True Lord Earthly Zhou, True God Stage 5, and his strength was comparable to True Lord Earthly Zhou. As the young man said, he murmured, "Fong Ping freak, more freak than King Wu." In just 3 years from a mortal to a true god, this person's freak has never been heard of. Even if he is a reincarnated extreme path heavenly emperor, he is also strong too fast. Since he was a reincarnated, even if he was recovering his strength, reaching the peak in 3 years, this speed was also frightening. And if he was really a reincarnated extreme path heavenly emperor, then he had to think of a way. Otherwise, Fong Ping, who was getting stronger and stronger, would become a big problem sooner or later. At this time, someone below said, "Elder, cooperating with the divine sect is tantamount to asking a tiger for its skin. But Fong Ping really wants a kill. Why don't we negotiate with the divine sect? Mount Luofu will open the passageway and let them enter the human world. The divine sect has many powerhouses. There is a high chance of killing Fong Ping in the human world. When they enter the human world and seal the passageway, they can only enter and exit from the outer realm. If the Netherworld King is still here, he will definitely stop the murderer. Maybe he can make the divine sect and the human world both suffer great losses." Easy for you to say, why would the divine sect agree? If they really had this intention, they would have made a move long ago, when Earthly Zhou fell. The young man sneered, "We want to see them both suffer great losses. They also want to see us and the human world suffer great losses." Now, the Netherworld King is hiding in the dark. It is also an important point that everyone is afraid of. The young man shook his head slightly and said, quickly, "The human world is obviously a great enemy of all sides. But now they can't reach an agreement. They all want to be the fisherman who benefits. If this goes on, sooner or later, Fong Ping will grow up." Understanding was one thing, but doing it was difficult. It had to be said that Life King still had some ability. Everyone was afraid of death, did not want to die, did not want to become a sacrifice. Under such circumstances, Life King could summon the catacombs' powerhouses to attack the human world together and kill the threat of King Wu. This was actually a great ability. Unfortunately, Life King was dead. Also, because of Life King's death, there were now not many people who dared to stand out. Killing Life King, that was a huge deterrent. The more the young man thought about it, the more irritated he became. He waved his hand and said, "All of you back off. Don't go out of the sect for now. Earthly Zhou is dead. Fong Ping must have guessed that one of the sects or grandmaster let Earthly Zhou enter. Previously, there were people patrolling the void in the human world, probably to find the door. This was done by Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven. When necessary, maybe we can spread the news. Let Fong Ping and Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven fight. Once they fight, maybe it will be our chance." Now, everyone lacked someone to stand out. If Void Mausoleum Grotto Heaven was the one who stood out, maybe the others would hear the news and attack together. "Yes, sir." Everyone responded one after another. Even if they were asked to go out now, they might not dare. Now that it was very chaotic outside, they might be killed. Everyone left quickly. The palace maids also retreated under the young man's impatient gaze. After they had all left, the young man murmured, "Fong Ping, Fong Ping." That day he had participated in the battle of the King battlefield. Therefore he saw Fong Ping's evilness, and he also saw Fong Ping's horror. When the late-stage Venerable Emperors left, he was a step slower and did not chase after them. Venerable Emperor Qingjin sent a voice transmission asking him to return to the sect to take charge, so he returned to Mount Luofu. Compared to other people's hearsay, he really saw Fong Ping's ruthlessness. In his opinion, the most ruthless thing was when Fong Ping had just left the king battlefield. The second king's people were chasing him, and he turned around and killed a paragon under the second king's eyes. knowing that he was no match for them. Such a person was too scary. If Fang Ping doesn't die, the three realms will be in chaos sooner or later. But this person has only been cultivating for 3 years. How did he cultivate to this level? The young man frowned, quickly got up and walked toward his palace. This was not his territory. This was the sect master's hall. His elder's hall was still next to it. He returned to his elder's hall. The young man ignored the greetings of the people in the palace and walked all the way to the depths of the palace. In the deepest part of the palace, there was a small courtyard. Outside the courtyard, 2 rank, 9 powerhouses stood. When they saw the young man, they bowed and said, "Elder!" Did he say it? No. The young man frowned, looking at the woman sitting cross-legged in the courtyard. Even when he came, the woman still closed her eyes and ignored him. "Tell me, I'll let you go." The young man said calmly, "You've served Fang Ping for some time. You can't be ignorant. Fang Ping must have secrets. Tell me, and you can save yourself the pain." In the courtyard, Chen Yunqi opened her eyes full of exhaustion, but her tone was unusually calm. I said, "I don't know. I don't have any intimate relationship with Fang Ping. He has a lot of classmates. Would he tell everyone his secrets? Are you an idiot?" The young man snorted coldly. A flame-like energy rose in his hand, not floating toward Chen Yunqi, but falling under the small courtyard. In the small courtyard, a crystal-like barrier rose in all directions. In the next moment, a raging energy flame rose in the small courtyard. Chen Yunqi was sweating like rain, her body trembling, her mentality overflowing, a large amount of vitality force on the surface of her body evaporating. The young man said coldly, "Don't say that you don't know. I've investigated you. I'm very clear about your relationship with Fang Ping. You've tasted the taste of spirit fire, burning your vitality, burning your spiritual consciousness. I treated an enemy in the past, a martial artist of rank 8 origin, burning him for 3 days. Guess what his only wish was in the end?" Chen Yunqi ignored him. "Let me send him back to heaven. He died without dignity, without value, like a dog begging me to kill him. I really don't know." Chen Yunqi's whole body trembled. The sound of her teeth chattering could be heard. She said shakily, "Me and him, it's just my one-sided love. Humans, there are too many people who like him. He's so dazzling, no one would dislike him. No matter how many times you ask me, it's useless." "Then tell me, how did you reach rank 7 so quickly?" The young man said coldly, "Before rank 6, I'm not curious. What I'm curious about is, how did he help you seal the Sanjiao Gate? Does he have any treasures that he especially values? How can he change his aura? How can he restrain his aura and not be detected at all? How is he different from ordinary people on normal days? I don't believe that he who advanced to the peak in 3 years has no abnormalities at all. If you say he doesn't, then you must be lying to me. Not only will you die, but also that useless rank 9 who entered this place recently. That's your grandfather, isn't it? I've already found his whereabouts. Wait until I catch him, burning his spiritual consciousness. I'll let you see how he dies in pain with your own eyes. I think you'll be looking forward to it. It's useless." Chen Yunqi smiled with difficulty. "I really don't know. Even if you kill my grandfather, and I make up some lies, will you believe it? Tell me, maybe. I'll believe it." The young man was indifferent. Whether it was true or false, he could more or less judge. He was really too curious. Fang Ping, how did he become stronger? If he could find out the secret of his strength, maybe he could also improve further, become a venerable emperor, a saint, or even a heavenly king. In the 3 realms, there would be many who were curious about Fang Ping. In the past, he could be wary of King Wu now. Fang Ping was also extremely strong. In the young man's opinion, the probability of Fang Ping telling his parents and family was not high. His parents were only low-ranked martial artists, and his sister was not considered strong. To be honest, as a young man, the probability of Fong Ping telling his women was higher. Chen Yunqi endured the pain and smiled. You really want to know? Then I'll tell you, the reason why he's so strong is actually because of King Wu. Do you believe it? The young man frowned. He's actually just King Wu's chess piece. Just a chess piece that deliberately attracts your attention. King Wu is the reincarnation of Heaven Reverse Emperor. He is just an ordinary martial artist. King Wu needs him to divert everyone's attention, so secretly helping him to continuously improve his strength. Chen Yunqi panted. That's the truth. Fong Ping also knows, but he needs to become stronger, so he can only show that he's very strong, very strong. I've told you everything I know. Are you messing with me? The young man snorted coldly. An energy flame appeared in his hand again, merging into the ground. In the courtyard, the raging flames flared up even more. The sound of flesh cracking could be heard. A large amount of vitality, force, and mentality were burned and evaporated. The young man saw that Chen Yunqi did not say a word, as if she was dead. He snorted coldly, waved his hand, and released a wave of energy, closing the courtyard door. At this moment, one of the two rank 9s by the door said in a low voice, Elder, the martial artists in the human world today are all people who can endure. Moreover, this woman may not really know anything. If the news is leaked and Fong Ping finds out, why not kill this woman and frame the divine sect or other sects? Of course, I know that she may not know anything. The young man said indifferently. Continue to ask questions that are not important. She's still young, thinking that I only want to force Fong Ping to reveal his secrets, but she doesn't know. I have my own plans. Ask her everything clearly, how she interacts with Fong Ping normally, who are her friends in the human world. Elder! One of them seemed to know something, a little shocked, and said in a low voice, Elder, isn't this too risky? It's fine. The young man said lightly, there are benefits to taking risks, but do you know what I want to do? The rank 9 martial artist who was asked lowered his head and said, I saw a secret technique in the library of martial arts. You're in luck. The young man smiled faintly and said, After I took this cultivation technique that year, I stopped spreading it. It seems that you must have gone in and seen it that year. There are not many people who know about it now. As he said that, the young man stretched out his hand and patted his shoulder, saying with a smile, Ask seriously. The more you know, the better. If I succeed, you too will benefit. Now that the sect leader is not here, the sect also needs a few new elders. Both of you are my direct descendants. If I become the sect leader, elder, who do you think it will be? Both of them were extremely excited and answered hurriedly. The young man said no more, turned around and left. The moment he turned his head, there was an additional coldness in his eyes. The more you know, the faster you die. Don't you know that trouble comes from the mouth? When things were done, these two people should also disappear. After he left, the two people in front of the door waited for a while. The other person said in a low voice, Do you know what the elder wants to do? I guessed a little. The person from before looked at the small courtyard and said telepathically, This courtyard is not purely for torturing people. Did you see it? This woman's vitality and spiritual consciousness are constantly being burned and stripped from her flesh. These vitality and spiritual consciousness are not burned, but preserved by the array in the courtyard. This kind of burned vitality and spiritual consciousness, if it goes through the elder's cultivation technique, it can be attached to the elder's spiritual consciousness and vitality. As soon as this was said, the other person seemed to understand and said in shock, The elder wants to impersonate this woman? Enter the human world. Not only that, maybe he also has the intention to get close to Fong Ping. This woman is said to be Fong Ping's lover. When the time comes, when she knows Fong Ping's secret, killing Fong Ping will be a piece of cake. But it's too risky. The elder is also full of courage, this person sighed. 9th elder was full of courage. This was very dangerous. Once something was wrong, it would not be difficult for Fong Ping to join forces with the Netherworld King to kill Ninth Elder. However, if it really succeeded, then it would be amazing. Chun Yunxi's strength was not considered strong, so she would not attract too much attention. But her identity and status were not ordinary. Ninth Elder could even take the opportunity to jump out of this general situation and impersonate Chun Yunxi to hide in the human world. Maybe after King Wu and the others returned, he could even enter the core group of King Wu and the others. Her grandfather was a powerhouse in the human world, and it was said that his status was not low. Her lover was Fong Ping. If he was stronger, like rank 9, or even broke through to the peak, then he would definitely become a core figure in the human world. If Ninth Elder impersonated her, if Fong Ping died, he could even use her identity to pretend to be King Wu's widow. It was fine if King Wu's widow was not strong, but if she was strong in this period, it was extremely normal for her to rule the human world. When King Wu returned, maybe even King Wu would trust her. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Ninth Elder's choice to capture Chun Yunxi was a good move. Ninth Elder was not considered a powerhouse in the 3 realms before, so he might not have the chance to do anything, but now the chance was great. As he thought about this, his companion beside him was a little worried. This was a top secret. If Elder wanted to impersonate Chun Yunxi, once his identity was exposed, it would be extremely dangerous. Now that both of them knew, would Elder silence them? Although he was worried, on Mount Luofu, the sect leader had left, and the other elders were either dead or gone. Ninth Elder was heaven. If they did not listen to him now, they would only die faster. I hope Elder won't make a move. We are his direct subordinates. Elder also needs manpower. This person comforted himself, and soon thought of the rank 9 who had been wandering outside the sect recently. Elder, maybe it was not that he did not find the other party. Instead, he deliberately did not kill him, did not capture him. Perhaps Elder had made preparations. When Chun Yunxi was unconscious or injured, Chen Yaoting would coincidentally find her and bring her back to the human world. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that Ninth Elder was extremely calculative. Perhaps Chen Yaoting was lured here by Elder himself. When that time came, Chun Yunxi would be fine, Chen Yaoting would be fine, and they would return safely. Even if Fong Ping knew that it was related to Mount Luofu, he might not make a move. Even if he did, Ninth Elder had already entered the human world, and he might not care about Mount Luofu's survival. Thinking about it this way, this person felt that the future might be a little bumpy. No wonder Elder has been asking us to pry for some unimportant information these days. This person turned around and took a look at the courtyard. The woman in the courtyard probably did not expect Elder to have such an idea. As for Elder being a male, when he reached the impasse, his golden body was ever-changing. It was not too difficult to turn into a man or a woman. For the sake of the great plan, it was not unacceptable to turn into a woman. At this moment, Fong Ping, who had just sneaked into Mount Luofu, had never thought about this. If he knew, he would probably grind this Ninth Elder's bones into ashes. Chapter 1047. This is Mount Luofu. The place where Fong Ping emerged from was a spring under Mount Luofu's heavenly palace. There was no one around. Fong Ping transformed into that Mount Luofu, rank 9's aura, made a small opening in the boundary wall through the token, and entered. As soon as he entered Mount Luofu, Fong Ping sensed a strong aura. There's a paragon. A paragon, rank 9's. 24 people, more than 30 rank 8's, more than 50 rank 7's. Fong Ping was a little emotional. This was the blessed grotto heaven. Even if there were heavy losses, powerhouses were everywhere. This desperation is not weak. I'm afraid he is not weaker than true Lord Earthly Zhou. While Fong Ping was thinking, his figure flashed quickly, leaving the place. As soon as he left, a rank 9 powerhouse landed from the sky, glanced at the spring, frowned slightly, and murmured, "The seal is shaking a little. Are the demons at the bottom of the sea attacking the seal again?" Just now the seal shook a little. This person was the powerhouse who usually presided over the formation. After investigating for a while, he did not find anything unusual. This person shook his head, soared into the sky again, and disappeared on the spot. Not far away, Fong Ping, who was hiding in the void, watched him leave silently and did not make a move. To destroy these blessed grotto heaven, the paragon must be killed first. If the paragon did not die, then the sect would not be destroyed. If the paragon died, even if the others did not die, they could not make too much of a splash. Fong Ping was about to sneak into the heavenly palace when he suddenly frowned. This place has more than one paragon. At this moment, Fong Ping felt a looming aura. The aura of a desperation. It was very weak, but it was real. A sleeping antique. Fong Ping made a judgment in his heart. Some antiques had really reached the end of their lifespan, and they would almost not wake up unless it was the last moment. Mount Luofu probably had an antique. Such an antique would not be weak. However, they were in a deep sleep, unless they encountered a fatal crisis. Otherwise, they would not wake up. Fong Ping looked in the direction of the heavenly palace. He sensed the looming aura just now. It came from the Lake of Eternal. The Lake of Eternal was also a standard of the blessed grotto heaven. Back then, Gong Zhuanzi's body was soaked in Kuokang Mountain's Lake of Eternal. Later on, Elvigen also went there to soak himself. As a result, Fong Ping, who initially had high hopes for the Lake of Eternal, lost all expectations in the end. Moreover, he could convert imperishable substances himself, using imperishable substances to maintain the vitality of the fleshly body. That's in line with old antiques' sleeping characteristics. Fong Ping withdrew all of his aura and sensed once more. He discovered that the active paragon was quite a distance away from the Lake of Eternal. Fong Ping was no longer worried. His silhouette flickered in the void. Perhaps even ordinary rank 9s could not see his movements. The Fong Ping of today was much stronger than before. From the underground to the heavenly palace, there were all kinds of restrictions. Without permission, even a rank 9 would be cut into pieces if they barged into the heavenly palace. However, to Fong Ping, not to mention that he could sense the correct path, even if he could not, these prohibitions would not be able to cut him. Fong Ping kept wandering in the space rift. Soon, Fong Ping broke into the heavenly palace area. The correct path led straight to a gigantic door. On the door was written Zhu Mingyao's true realm, Luofu Mountain, Zhu Mingyao's true heaven of the 10 great heavens. 5 big words in flamboyant calligraphy shone with a strange light, captivating. These words were written by venerable emperor. On both sides of the decorated archway stood 4 powerhouses, 2 on each side, 2 rank 7s, 2 rank SS. Obviously, Luofu Mountain had not exaggerated enough to use a rank 8 golden body to guard the door of the heavenly palace. A rank 8 golden body, even in ancient times, was also a figure of a region. An indestructible golden body, the limit of physical development, these were all represented by a rank 8 powerhouse. At this moment, the 4 gatekeeping martial artists were extremely quiet, not saying a word. Guarding the door was actually just one meaning. No one thought that anyone could break into Luofu Mountain. Even if they did, they would have been discovered long ago. They were guarding here to prevent people from the outer sect below from breaking in. However, in the war that year, the inner sect was still fine, but the outer sect people were almost all dead. Today, there were not many people in the outer sect. Some were prisoners captured from the outer sect. Some were resurrected martial artists. Yes, resurrected martial artists. Star Town's resurrected martial artists. All these years, Star Town had sent people into the land of rebirth. When Fong Ping was in the Hall of Myriad Origins, he sensed a lot of life origins. Some people were resurrected, some did not, but there were not many resurrected martial artists left in Star Town, because a part of them had entered the blessed grotto heavens. Fong Ping knew about these things. Back then, The people in Startown had told him that if there was a matching aura, they might give him an opportunity. This opportunity was to enter the blessed grotto heavens. Li Zhen had entered the blessed grotto heavens before. Zhang Tao once said that no one existed in the blessed grotto heavens that Li Zhen had entered. Not a single one. But now, Fang Ping discovered that there were people in the 8 major territories. Whether Li Zhen had entered one of the 8 major blessed grotto heavens back then was up for debate. He did not know if that place had been destroyed or still existed. Although Fang Ping had been to many places, he had not been to many of the 108 outer sections. Here at Luofu Mountain, resurrected martial artists had entered. After entering, they had never left again. Now these people were in the outer sect below. These people were the outer sect disciples that Luofu Mountain had left in the human world. They had entered the catacombs with the demon emperor to fight, and almost all of them had died in battle. Places like Luofu Mountain did not trust these outer sect disciples. No one knew if they were pawns set up by the demon emperor. Of course, they did not dare to put them in important positions. However, some trivial matters could still be handed over to these people to take care of. Feeding monsters, planting immortal fruits, servants, palace, maids, these people might have been selected from the outer sect disciples. However, there were very few who could enter the heavenly palace. Luofu Mountain did not care too much about those people below. Fang Ping had actually seen and sensed it. He saw that some people's auras were weak, and some people were plowing like cows. He did not know what to think. If these people had stayed in the human world, like Guo Shangquan and the others, they would also be respected powerhouses now. But they had chosen to enter the blessed grotto heavens. Over at Star Town, Fang Ping knew that they would not force you to go. Of course, there were some temptations, but it was still up to them to choose whether to go or stay. Since these people had entered the blessed grotto heavens and were now in this state, Fang Ping did not want to say anything. The heavenly palace only had this main door. There were no obstructions around, but layers of restrictions were set up. Anyone who came would have to pass through this door. Fang Ping hid in the void dozens of meters in front of the door plate. He did not show himself, nor did he force his way in. He sensed a hint of murderous intent. The few big words on the door plate seemed to contain some special energy. If he broke through the void and entered, he might be attacked. These powerhouses were not really defenseless against intruders. Fang Ping was not afraid of such attacks, but in this way he would be exposed. They're quite careful. They even set up such restrictions inside their own lair. Fang Ping muttered in his heart. His mentality and energy dissipated and spread out slowly. There were some voices in his ears. Master, when can we reappear in the 3 realms? Wait, senior sister, the set of cultivation methods that Master mentioned before. I don't understand, senior sister. Mother, I want to go to the human world to have a look. Why can't I open the door? 9th Elder has strictly ordered that no one is allowed to open the door to the human world. There are powerhouses in the human world now. I know. Is that Fang Ping? The person who claimed to be the king of man. Damn it. When has the Luofu immortal realm ever feared an ant in the mortal world? Once 9th Elder has killed Fang Ping, I will definitely make a trip to the human realm to slay those devils and uphold justice. Slay demons and defend justice. Yes, the neo-martial artists in the human world were the devils, the publicly acknowledged fiend of the 3 realms. Who was the righteous path? The human realm beyond heavens, the land of boundaries, the overseas immortal islands, and the divine sect were all righteous, because the divine sect was also the orthodox of the heavenly court. King Kuin was one of the 8 kings, and so were the 3 sages, who dared to say that the divine sect was not orthodox. Even the catacombs for majestic halls had their roots in the earthly emperor divine dynasty. Whether or not the earthly emperor's projection was the earthly emperor himself, it was still the earthly emperor. Therefore, the only thing in the 3 realms that wasn't considered orthodox was the human world. Was Heavenly King Zhen one of the 8 kings? I don't know. Even if it was, the human world was not the orthodoxy of the heavens subduing king. Therefore, the human world was the demonic path. At this moment, Fang Ping laughed at himself in his heart. This was the position of the human world in the eyes of all parties. Demonic Tao. Slay demons and defend justice was a matter of course. The human realm beyond heavens, the land of boundaries, these places all regarded the human world as the demonic path. Therefore, in their eyes, the martial artists in the human world could be killed by them. But once they were killed by the martial artists in the human world, it would be the demonic path wreaking havoc. The person who spoke just now was probably not very old. Even the ancient people were sealed when they were young. But at such a young age, they had developed a deep-rooted impression that they were immortals, gods, and the righteous path. Disobedience in the human world was the demonic path. We have to slay demons and defend justice. Then today, I will let the demonic path wreak havoc. Fang Ping snorted coldly in his heart. Slay demons and defend justice in the human world? What a righteous cause! He had long seen through this group of hypocrites. They thought they were infallible, thought they were immortals, and were arrogant. Did they think they could dictate the fate of humans? Ridiculous! At this moment, Fang Ping's mentality erupted instantly destroying most of the mentality of a rank 6 monster that was wandering leisurely behind the archway. Roar! This monster suddenly went berserk, madly crashing into the Imperial Road in the distance. Seeing this scene, a few martial artists guarding the door turned their heads to look. Seeing the monster with red eyes, one of the rank 7 martial artists cursed in a low voice. These demons should all be chased away. They make a ruckus from time to time. If they stay in the immortal palace, the palace won't have peace. Although he was cursing, the person still said, "Quickly, go suppress it. Don't disturb the peace of the elders and the deacons." Hearing that, the 2 rank 6 martial artists hurried over there. Seeing that they had gone, the other rank 7 martial artists said helplessly, "Recently the elders have not been in a good mood. The deacons are also in a bad mood. I'm afraid you and I will be reprimanded again this time. As for the rank 6 monster going berserk, monsters below the high ranks did not have high intelligence. Going berserk was not too surprising. After staying in the heavenly palace for a long time, these demons were also depressed. Venting a little was not a big deal. As the 2 chatted, their gazes were also looking over there. The rank 6 monster was not weak. The 2 rank 6 martial artists had their hands and feet tied. They could not take it down for a while. Seeing the scene, both of them secretly cursed useless. If the commotion was any bigger, it would attract the attention of the adults. Both of them could not care less about their pride and hurried over there. Behind them, Fang Ping's silhouette was faintly discernible, flickering constantly like a shadow following them. Very soon, the 2 rank 7 martial artists subdued the rank 6 monster. They did not kill it. It looked like they were going to escort it to the outer sect. Fang Ping, however, could not be bothered with them. He did not make a move on them either. After passing the decorated archway, other than guarding against the paragon, he did not need to care too much about the others. Fang Ping headed straight for the Lake of Eternal. The slumbering apex expert was his first target. Once this kind of antique woke up, it would be a great threat. But in its deep sleep, he might be able to kill the other party easily. Of course, he could not kill it completely. Otherwise, Tao would collapse and he would be discovered instantly. Leaving behind a little mentality primer was not a problem. Fang Ping calculated everything clearly and hurried on his way. If he met anyone on the way, he would try to avoid them. After a while, a heavily guarded place appeared in front of Fang Ping. It was a huge garden. Outside the door, no one was standing guard, but there was a building that looked like a gatehouse. Among them, a rank 9 and a rank 8 powerhouse were chatting in the gatehouse. 2 powerhouses were keeping watch. Obviously, this place was very important. "Senior, Do you think third elder has not woken up for so many years? Could it be? Be careful with your words. The rank 9 old man growled and said quickly, Third elder has been in closed-door cultivation for many years. When he comes out this time, he might be able to achieve the position of venerable emperor. Although he said it, the old man did not believe it himself. Third elder was already old. True gods and venerable emperors were known to have a lifespan of 10,000 years. But in reality, it was still different. If a true god could live for 8,000 years, then you were lucky. You were strong and close to emperor level. Under normal circumstances, if a true god was over 5,000 years old, then they had to sleep often. Otherwise, they would age quickly and enter their old age. As for emperor-level powerhouses, the stronger they were, the longer they lived. The limit of 10,000 years was only for those ordinary emperor-level powerhouses. The stronger they were, the stronger their life essence, the later they would enter the end of their lives. Their third elder was already over 7,000 years old. He might really enter the end of his life. If he did not wake up now, it was not the time for the last fight. Once he woke up, if he did not become an emperor, he might age and die quickly. Over at Mount Luofu, Grand Elder had already passed away in meditation a few years ago. Second Elder had died in the graveyard of gods that year. 12 elders, either dead or in deep sleep, and a few younger ones had also followed into the cemetery of gods this time. In the sect, only 2 true gods, Third Elder who was in deep sleep and Ninth Elder who was still presiding over the sect, were present. The old man flattered and did not speak again, but his mentality began to fluctuate. As for Fong Ping, he hid outside, his mentality also overflowed. Both of them were communicating telepathically. Fong Ping now knew why old Zhang liked to eavesdrop. Eavesdropping on other people's telepathic conversations was a very satisfying thing. Junior, now in the sect, Ninth Elder presides over the sect affairs. You know Ninth Elder's personality. He seems unmoved, but in reality his mind is gloomy. The less he speaks, the more mistakes he makes. Third Elder is Ninth Elder's master. Be careful not to be caught. Thank you for reminding me, Senior. I also lost my head for a moment just now. The middle-aged man thanked him and said, Senior, there has been some abnormalities in the sect recently. Previously, there were martial artists bombarding the seal outside the sect, but Ninth Elder asked US to guard the sect and not let people out. This, probably not willing to have a conflict with the human world. It is said that the ones who bombarded the seal were human martial artists. Those devils in the human world are extremely daring. Now that the sect master is not here, Ninth Elder is not wrong to act cautiously. It is just that he has lost the sect's face. However, we are just mere executives. This matter is not up to us. No, I heard that recently Senior Qingyun and Senior Qingming have been in the Hall of Elders and have not come out. Senior, do you think Ninth Elder is planning something? Don't be nosy. Senior, it's not that we are nosy, but we have to think for ourselves. Although we have been sealed for many years, our lifespans are also reaching the limit. If we don't become true gods, I'm afraid our lifespans will be exhausted and we will die. What do you want to do? I'm just a little curious about what Ninth Elder is doing. Ninth Elder definitely wants to become an emperor. And now, it is said that the human world's Tao is loosening. Do you think Elder wants to take the opportunity to go to the human world to achieve Tao? That person from the outside world, could it be related to this? Related to this? Could it be that Elder wants to befriend the human world martial artists and take the opportunity to enter the human world? But the sect master fought with the human world's martial artists before. Both of them were still talking. After being sealed for thousands of years, it was rare for them to wake up now. Both of them were also very talkative. Fong Ping listened for a while. He did not gain much, but he noticed a few points. There were 2 rank 9s in the Hall of Elders who had not come out. He sensed it, but it was somewhat blocked. In addition, there was a paragon there, so he did not dare to investigate carefully. Secondly, someone had attacked the stronghold from the outside. The probability of it being Chen Yaoding was not small. This old man actually came here. He must have discovered something. Otherwise, with Chen Yaoding's personality, he would not rashly enter the boundary zone. The old man did not go back. He did not inform me. He chose to come by himself. Fang Ping sighed softly in his heart. He somewhat knew what Chen Yaoding was thinking. Fang Ping could not easily take the risk. If he came to Mount Luofu, if he was left behind on Mount Luofu, or if a great battle broke out and he was surrounded by other powerhouses, the probability of Fang Ping being surrounded and killed here was very high. If he stayed on Earth, those powerhouses would not dare to go to Earth and risk their lives. Nonsense. A weak rank. 9 who has just broken through to the boundary zone. Is he courting death? Fang Ping cursed in his heart. But before he came, he did not sense Chen Yaoding's aura. This old man must have also hidden and did not continue to stay nearby. Hiding, the probability of him hiding in the Forbidden Sea was higher. However, this was also a very dangerous thing. Fang Ping did not know how he could resist the erosion of the Forbidden Sea seawater. Hall of Elders. Hall of Elders, wait a little longer. There's a paragon over there. It's too dangerous. Here, their third elder is in a deep sleep. I'll kill him first. Fang Ping thought in his heart. This time he did not have any scruples. He traveled through the void directly, passed by both of them, and entered the big garden. In the garden, the scenery was great. However, Fang Ping did not pay attention to it. He had already seen the constantly tumbling golden water in the depths. The lake of imperishable matter. The rich, imperishable matter was imprisoned in a side of the lake. This was also the accumulation of the boundary zone during its peak period. Above the lake, a transparent cover appeared. This was a sealing array, preventing the imperishable matter from leaking out. Fang Ping observed for a while, and very quickly he had an idea. This defensive cover was probably set up by the third elder, who was in a deep sleep. It was to prevent people from trespassing into his place of hibernation. Once Fang Ping broke in, the other party might wake up very quickly. However, with such a close distance, Fang Ping did not necessarily need to break in to kill him. In the next moment, Fang Ping's figure flickered, hiding behind a big tree. There was no one here. This was the third elder's hibernation place. No one else could enter without permission. Fang Ping quickly closed his eyes. He had already sensed third elder's aura. He would enter his path of origin first. In the blink of an eye, Fang Ping's figure appeared in front of a slightly dim avenue. It was very dim. One could even say that it was dark. The avenue was a little deathly still. A paragon who was about to fall, his willpower was no longer strong. After sleeping for many years, even his reaction speed was very slow. If Fang Ping barged into other people's daos, the powerhouses would react quickly. However, at this moment, Fang Ping's appearance did not seem to trigger any reaction from the other party's origin. When this happened, it usually meant that the other party's strength was not as good as Fang Ping's. Therefore, when Fang Ping barged in, they would not notice at all. Sensing the scene, Fang Ping was also speechless. You deserve to die. This time, Fang Ping was not in a hurry to sever his opponent's Tao. Since the other party had yet to react, he could take his time. Fang Ping did not step into the main street. He stood in front of the main street, his god-slaying saber appearing, aiming at the intersection of the main street. This time he was prepared to cut off the other party's main street directly. Leaving 1 to 2 meters would be enough. If the great path was severed, leaving a meter or two behind, the other party would be severely injured immediately. Fang Ping had no problem suppressing a severely injured paragon. Without the amplification of the origin Tao, even an emperor might not be his match. Fang Ping aimed a Tao. He raised his saber and brandished it, preparing for a moment. As for a supreme great Tao that was about to fall, he had no interest in taking a closer look. Moreover, he might be discovered by the other party if he entered. Kill! Fang Ping let out a low growl. The speed of his saber was unbelievably fast. rumble, crack. When he went all out and the other party did not notice, it was not too difficult for Fang Ping to sever the other party's Dao with the divine weapon in his hand. Moreover, the other party's Dao was already rotten. A loud cracking sound rang out in the source world. At this moment, in the void, an extremely old figure appeared. The old man's hair and beard were all white, as if he had just woken up and was still a little dazed. However, when he saw that his Dao had been severed, the old man sobered up instantly. But it was too late. At this moment, Fang Ping's figure disappeared instantly. The next moment, Fang Ping's real body was extremely fast, quickly breaking through the Lake of Eternal's defensive barrier. Almost in the blink of an eye, at the bottom of the lake, Fang Ping pressed one hand on the head of an extremely old man. Crack! Fang Ping did not hesitate at all, directly crushing the other party's skull. Not only that, his mentality erupted instantly, sealing off the surroundings. Only at this moment, in the lake, an illusory spirit body appeared. Before he finished speaking, Fang Ping blasted out a punch, blasting the other party's illusion into pieces. Fang Ping grabbed a small piece and held it in his hand, holding the god-slaying saber in his right hand. With a sweep of the saber, the other fragments were instantly shattered, completely obliterated. Fang Ping pinched a small fragment in his left hand. At this moment, the fragment turned into the old man's appearance. Fang Ping glanced at it and said lightly, "I almost killed you. You scared me. Don't ask me who I am. There's no need to. Don't say that you're innocent. Everyone has their own difficulties. All right, I've explained everything that needs to be explained. Go back to sleep." While the old man was still in a daze, Fang Ping set up layers after layers of mentality barriers, sealing the small pieces of mentality fragments. It's my first time killing a paragon is so easy. It seems like I'm really made for being an assassin. Don't feel lonely. Soon, I'll send the others to meet you. If we're going to die, we'll die together. Otherwise, if you die and they're still alive, won't you be jealous? Look at your current situation. Your Dao has been severed, your golden body destroyed. Even if I let you live, you won't be able to live for more than a few days. Right? Are you interested in telling me some secrets? For example, what weaknesses does your ninth elder have? I heard that you're his master. He's been very carefree recently. If he doesn't die, won't you be jealous? The little illusory figure was a little lifeless. These words, for him, who had already reached the end of his life, it had to be said that there was some truth to it. A powerhouse who had reached this stage was really unwilling. He was also very jealous of those powerhouses who still had lifespans. However, these words, coming from the mouth of a powerhouse who had killed him, really made him speechless. After a pause, third elder said in a weak voice, Just as he spoke, Fang Ping's mentality suddenly shook. With a crack, the illusory figure was slightly shattered. Fang Ping bared his teeth. You actually want to King self-destruct. Are you crazy? If you self-destruct and your Dao crumbles, won't you be discovered? All right, I won't ask you anymore. You're smarter than I thought. I'll just seal you. Fang Ping strengthened the seal again. His mentality kept shaking, extremely careful. For the first time, he realized that it was so difficult not to kill the enemy. He couldn't shatter this fragile mental power. If it shattered, the other party would die completely. If he died, he might be exposed. Sigh, it's so hard to leave someone alive. Fang Ping sighed. Only when the other party was about to completely dissipate did Fang Ping stop. At this point, this extremely powerful third elder was easily taken care of by Fang Ping. Fang Ping squatted at the bottom of the lake, rubbing his chin. Should I go to the Hall of Elders first? Or should I pretend to be this old man here to lure that ninth elder over and ambush him? I'm afraid that the other party doesn't trust his master. That'll be even more troublesome. Forget it. I'd better go to the Hall of Elders first and find out how to kill the other party more easily. Fang Ping thought for a while and looked at the imperishable substance in the lake. This thing, He did not want it. It had soaked in the old man's corpse before. However, the others did not know. Even if they knew, they might not care. After he was done with his work later, he had to bring these things away. At least 100,000 yuan of imperishable substance and above. This was the least. It was also mixed with a large amount of energy liquid. It was all money. He could not let it go. The first battle was successful. I killed a paragon. Fang Ping counted for himself. The number of paragons he had killed was not little, but it was slightly less than Old Zhang. Old Zhang had killed dozens of paragons alone previously. He had to surpass him as soon as possible. In the next moment, Fang Ping's figure flickered. Very quickly, he left the lake of imperishable substances and rushed toward the Hall of Elders. When a powerhouse with a paragon's combat strength had no aura and could not be sensed, such a powerhouse was in existence that people feared. Not to mention that Fang Ping had many tricks up his sleeves. He could even break into the origin path. With a divine weapon in hand, he was an even more nightmarish existence. Chapter 1048. Elder's Hall. The moment Fang Ping defeated Third Elder, Ninth Elder, who was preparing to cultivate, suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze seemed to penetrate through all obstacles, looking in the direction of the Lake of Eternal. "What's wrong?" the Ninth Elder murmured. Was the old man about to wake up? The Third Elder was his master. He had been asleep for a very, very long time. Was he going to wake up now? Elder Jiu was not happy. Instead, he frowned. Now that the sect master and the others had just left, it was finally his turn to be the sect master of Mount Luofu. Now he was also preparing for a big plan. Now that his master had come out of seclusion, it was not a good thing. Is he waking up, or is his lifespan about to run out? The Ninth Elder murmured. In the next moment, he stood up and walked out of the training room. Looking in that direction once more, the aura of his master, who he could still sense in the past, was now shockingly weak. The Ninth Elder frowned again. Was he going to die? It didn't really matter if he died. However, at this juncture, a true god of Luofu Mountain had fallen, and the great Tao had collapsed. It might cause some trouble, and it would also attract the attention of some people to Luofu Mountain. I can't die now, and I can't leave seclusion either. Thinking of this, the Ninth Elder stepped into the air and quickly rushed in that direction. He had to focus on something. Who? Fang Ping exhaled inwardly. That was close. I almost ran into him. This won't do. That old man's mental strength won't last long. Once he dies, this guy will immediately react. Fang Ping frowned. Should he follow this Ninth Elder and look for an opportunity to assassinate him, or should he go to the Hall of Elders to take a look? Qin Yaoting had come. There was an expert in the Elder Hall. Fang Ping actually had some ideas. To the Elder Hall. Fang Ping made up his mind. Over there, Ninth Elder would not rush in to check, would he? If they were really exposed, then they would just have to kill them. Fang Ping made up his mind. Ninth Elder's departure was a good thing. Without Elder Jiu keeping watch, Fang Ping sped up and entered the Hall of Elders in the blink of an eye. He had already sensed the aura of the 2 level 9 experts. The other party was guarding something. Deep inside the compound, there was some obstruction. Fang Ping's senses were a little blurry. However, Fang Ping saw it very soon. In the small courtyard, a thin woman sat cross-legged on the ground. His clothes had long been dyed red with blood. At this moment, the 2 rank 9s outside the door were still asking questions. Tell me Fang Ping's secret, and you'll suffer less. If this goes on, you won't be able to hold on for more than a day. Your body will collapse, and your spiritual sense will shatter. That's right, Mississippi. Even if you don't tell us Fang Ping's secret, it's not really a secret if you tell us some things about humans. But us 2 brothers can also explain it to the Elder, and you can also avoid some pain. One of them had a red face, while the other had a white face. One was interrogating while the other was exhorting. The person who advised her sighed and said, or perhaps I should say something about your life. Young lady, you are still young. Your parents and brothers should still be alive. Now that the elders are not here, this old man also had a daughter who was about the same age as you. What a pity. Sigh. The man sighed and said, Tell this old man, you can divert some of the pain. This old man is doing his best to suppress the formation. This is the only thing this old man can do. Qingyun, another person berated. Once the elders find out, Destiny, how will the elders find out if you don't tell them? Back then, my daughter died. You saw it for yourself. This young lady is still young. This old man did not let her go. I only wanted to ease some of her pain. You and I have been brothers for many years. Are you going to tell on me even for this? Destiny frowned and quickly snorted. Be careful. If the elders find out, it'll be troublesome. Also, Chun Yunchi, you better tell us more. That way, we will have an excuse to say that we are interrogating you for information. Chun Yunchi opened her eyes. The tiredness in her eyes intensified. Hearing that, she said softly, Thank you both for your kindness. Since the two of you have treated me so well, then I will say a few words. Chun Yunchi pondered for a moment and said slowly, My life is very short. There is nothing worth writing about. Since that elder of yours wants to know Fang Ping's secret, then I will say a few things. Fang Ping actually doesn't like me at all. He has someone he loves. It's a pity that he can't talk about it. Chun Yunchi smiled bitterly. It's useless for you to capture me. I'm not trying to absolve myself. Since I'm here, I have no plans to go back. But I don't want to die just like this. I don't want to let that be asterisk TCH. Have it easy. Chun Yunchi's eyes were cold. Fang Ping, the person you love is not on Earth. In the catacombs, a woman of extremely high status. A woman who has risked her life for Fang Ping multiple times. A woman who will never be accepted by humans. Ji Yao. If you really understand Fang Ping and Ji Yao, then you should know that the two of them have worked together many, many times. Fang Ping has let Ji Yao go time and time again. Ji Yao has also let Fang Ping go time and time again. She even helped him grow when he needed it the most. Both of them were stunned. Ji Yao. Was it real or fake? They knew this person. She was the granddaughter of Destiny Royal Court's Life King, Ji Hong's daughter. Now, she was also the Ji family spokesperson in Destiny Royal Court. Fang Ping actually liked Ji Yao. These two people were related. In the air, Fang Ping, who was about to attack, suddenly smirked. What did you not learn? You learned how to fool people. Deserved to be hit. Looking at the vitality and mentality that were overflowing in the courtyard, Fang Ping's eyes regained their coldness. In the next moment, Fang Ping suddenly appeared behind the two stunned people. Both of them knew nothing. Inside the door, Chun Yunchi was facing him. She saw everything clearly, but she was indifferent. She continued, You can choose not to believe me, but if you investigate carefully, you will definitely find some clues. Once you capture Ji Yao, you will know how anxious Fang Ping is. Also, at this point, I want to tell you a secret. What? Chun Yunchi suddenly smiled brightly. Her smile made the two of them confused. Fang Ping actually doesn't like women. I was lying to you just now. He likes men. Having said that, she even flashed a cheeky smile. Both of them were stunned again. Then they felt a little angry. Just as they were about to lose their temper, someone patted them from behind. Under the horrified gazes of the two, their bodies were smashed into pieces like mud. I like men. Fang Ping said helplessly, Stupid girl, you've learned to spread rumors. The truth. Chun Yunchi smiled. I always feel that you and Brother Wang and the others have an improper relationship. You deserve to be hit. Fang Ping smiled bitterly. You're already like this, and you're still talking nonsense. That's why I said it. Chun Yunchi stood up slowly, panting. Don't save me. If we break this formation now, that person will sense it. Pretend to be one of them and tell them that I've revealed Fong Ping's secret. That powerhouse will be interested. Ambush him. Right, can you kill him? Yes. Then ambush him. Chen Yunqi walked to the door and looked at Fong Ping. There was a faint smile in her eyes. I won't die yet. I can even hold on for a day. Just save me in a day. If the ambush doesn't work, then go back first. If I die, just avenge me. Also, let me ask you, do you like men or women? Fong Ping was speechless. He threw the two fellows, who were almost crippled, to the ground. Pay attention to something important. This is very important. Women. That'll do. Chen Yunqi smiled brightly. Go. Kill him if you're confident. Just call him elder. Also, don't eavesdrop on me next time. I'm not eavesdropping. Fong Ping laughed. He killed one of them with one palm and instantly transformed it into his aura. Then hold on for a while. I'll come and get you after I destroy Mount Luofu. Fong Ping said, then asked, have you cried? No. You're a tough guy. You're the tough guy. Chen Yunqi scolded him with a smile. I'm a weak woman. It hurts a lot. You're not leaving yet. You're making me suffer on purpose. You're so mean. I saw you smiling so happily. I thought you weren't in pain. Fong Ping said and turned to leave. As he walked, he said, suffering is a blessing. Next time, you should stay in Magic City. Let's see if you dare to run around. It's easy if you want to become stronger. When we get to Magic City, I'll help you achieve a golden body. Got it. You're still not leaving. Are you trying to piss me off? I'm leaving. Fong Ping's silhouette flashed. His clothes changed rapidly, and so did his appearance. After he left, Chen Yunqi fell to the ground. She looked at Qingyan, who was still alive, and chuckled. See, your nightmares are here. He's singing a two-man show with me. He hasn't gone out for thousands of years. His brain must be flooded with water. He's so good at fooling people. I've been watching how he fooled people. How could he be fooled by idiots like you? It's a pity he came early. Otherwise, he might be able to watch a big show. Do you think that stupid elder of yours will go and capture Ji Yao? If he did, then it wouldn't be in vain for me to come up with a story for the past few days. Qin Yan's eyes widened, but he did not make a sound. At this moment, he was only left with a trace of mentality, preserving his aura. Seeing this, Chen Yunqi panted. I can't say it anymore. I'll piss you off. If you die of anger and your aura is extinguished, he'll be in trouble. But after he kills that elder of yours, I'll piss you off again, okay? Hee, a muffled, throaty sound could be heard. I won't say any more. You guys are too weak. Chen Yunqi ignored him. She looked outside the courtyard door, a smile still on her face. He was here, even if she did not expect him to come. The moment he appeared in front of her, she felt that he was the only one in the world. Pain? It was nothing. He said he liked women. I'll remember that. In the Hall of Elders. Fong Ping's aura exploded. There was no smile on his face, only coldness. 70% of Chen Yunqi's mentality had been burned. Completely burned. Her vitality was almost completely burned away. Fong Ping knew that this kind of pain was more painful than self-detonating mentality. That was because his mentality had been burned once before. It was a light touch, but he was in unbearable pain. It was hard to imagine that Chen Yunqi, who had burned 70% of her mentality, could still smile. You're braver than I thought. It's a pity. I'm weaker than you think. In this 3 realms, I'm still not the strongest. Not to the point where everyone fears me like a demon. But this time, it's time for me to be a demon. At this moment, 9th Elder's aura flashed in the distance. Fong Ping's aura exploded. 9th Elder could not care less about 3rd Elder's situation. Destiny's aura suddenly exploded. Something urgent must have happened. Did Chen Yunqi say something? Or was she dead? In the next moment, 9th Elder's figure appeared in the distance. The coldness on Fong Ping's face dissipated instantly, turning into anxiety. He could not wait to rush over, but he dared not. "Elder!" An immensely anxious shout rang out. Ninth Elder landed immediately and appeared in front of him. He frowned and asked, "What happened?" "Elder!" Fong Ping was so anxious that he seemed to be unable to speak. In the next moment he suddenly turned around and pointed to the depths of the Hall of Elders, saying anxiously that Ninth Elder snorted coldly. He stopped asking and leaped over Fong Ping to see for himself. Fong Ping seemed to have expected such a reaction from him. The moment he leaped over Fong Ping, the god-slaying saber was in his hand. This time, Fong Ping did not say a word. He was as silent as a dead man. He swung the saber. Fast, ruthless, accurate. It was done in one go. The hand holding the saber was as steady as a mountain. Fong Ping had never been so confident. "I can shatter his golden body with one slash. I'm that strong. Strong enough to make people tremble, to make people fear, to make people not dare to provoke Fong Ping anymore." The void shattered. Ninth Elder was terrified. At this moment, his first reaction was to concentrate all his strength under his feet. Run. He had been closed in by a top-notch powerhouse. Moreover, he had closed in when he was defenseless. Could he escape now? This slash, Fong Ping was extraordinarily strong. It was too steady, so steady that his control of strength had improved. Boom! An earth-shattering roar came from Ninth Elder's head. In the next moment, his head exploded like a watermelon. Fong Ping's saber did not stop at all. With a crash, from top to bottom, his golden body was sliced in half. At this moment, the saber's aura overflowed. With a boom, the front hall of the Hall of Elders exploded into powder. Everyone in the front hall, no matter how strong they were, was crushed into powder at this moment. Fong Ping did not say a word. He did not verbally attack the other party. Almost at the same time, the second slash followed like a shadow, slashing toward the spirit body that had just appeared. Kacha! His mental power was instantly destroyed into a mess. A top-notch powerhouse who was not much weaker than him had ambushed him with a divine weapon. Something like this had never happened since ancient times, because no one of the same rank could get close without concealing it. Fong Ping. His golden body was slashed, his mentality destroyed. But Fong Ping did not have any intention of underestimating the other party. At this moment, Fong Ping broke into the other party's origin Dao. In the other party's moment of extreme fear, he slashed again. At the same time, Fong Ping's origin world appeared, colliding with the other party's origin world with a boom. Crack! Both parties' origin worlds were cracking. Fong Ping, on the other hand, slashed 100 times in one go. With a crack, he severed the other party's Dao. Fast! So fast that it could not be any faster. From start to finish, in the blink of an eye, not even a second. This was even faster than the ambush on Third Elder earlier. At this moment, Fong Ping withdrew his origin. His mentality erupted, sweeping in all directions, gathering the mentality fragments one by one. He grasped them and forcefully pressed them into the golden body that was about to turn into a pulp of flesh. The other party's golden body was still recovering. Fong Ping's god-slaying saber struck again, one slash after another. He obliterated the other party's imperishable substance, constantly obliterating it. It was too fast. Ninth Elder let out a beast-like roar. In the distance, some powerhouses noticed the commotion and rushed over. Fong Ping did not care about them. Again and again. Very soon, scarlet blood flowed out of the golden body. The imperishable substance was obliterated. When a desperate situation bled red blood, it meant that it had reached its limit. At this moment, Fong Ping said, "Don't worry, you won't die so quickly. This time, the headquarters will torture you to death in front of all the powerhouses in the 3 realms. I'll let you know what a demon is. Don't even think about running. You won't be able to escape. You can't even self-destruct." Fong Ping sneered. His palm grew bigger, grabbing him. Crack, Crack, he almost squeezed the other party into a meatball. Fang Ping held the meatball in his hand and said lightly, so weak. Is this the Luofu mountain that I'm cautious of? Looks like you're going to be annihilated today. Having said that, Fang Ping's mentality erupted instantly. He did not kill, did not intimidate. Instead, he formed a wall and flew in all directions. He wanted to seal off the Luofu mountain and annihilate them. Not a single one of them could escape. Was it because he, Fang Ping, was too weak? Or was it because they were too daring? They dared to capture anyone. This time, the attack was smoother than he had expected. Not only was the sneak attack successful, but he also preserved the other party's life. This was the biggest success. Maybe this time, it's time to let you understand what it means to be afraid. Fang Ping's mentality emerged continuously. He did not care about anyone. He just sealed off the world. Annihilation. This was the end of the 3 realms. Elder, what happened? Destiny, what are you doing? Roars came one after another. The Luofu mountain that had been peaceful for many years was in chaos. The Hall of Elders was suddenly destroyed, and the Elder's aura seemed to be coming from the meatball in Destiny's hand. Fang Ping ignored them. His mentality emerged faster and faster. Very soon, Fang Ping completed the seal. Of course, he could not seal off a 1,000-mile stretch of land, but at least the area within a few dozen miles was completely sealed off by him. Until now, someone landed near Fang Ping. Looking at Fang Ping, he said with a face full of shock and anger, "Destiny, where's the elder?" Fang Ping's expression began to change. He tossed the meatball in his hand and smiled faintly. "Isn't he here? Also, call me King Ren." After saying that, Fang Ping ignored these extremely stunned and terrified Luofu mountain martial artists and walked toward the back of the hall. "King Ren, no. Elder, he run." Everyone was panic-stricken. They were all afraid. That was Fang Ping. Fang Ping had actually killed his way to Luofu mountain. Moreover, 9th Elder had actually been crushed into a meatball by him without much movement. Now he was playing with him in his hand. It was too terrifying. The Luofu mountain powerhouses fled in all directions. No one had the mood to fight with Fang Ping. The difference between a true god and the origin was in essence. Moreover, the true god-level 9th Elder had been defeated so easily. Who would dare to be Fang Ping's enemy? Boom! There was a violent roar in all directions. Someone's path had been blocked by the barrier. At this moment, regardless of everything, they were bombarding the barrier frantically. On the other side, Fang Ping said faintly as he walked, "There's no need to look for that 3rd Elder. I killed him just now. Run. If you can't run, then die. It's okay if you can't break the barrier. Let someone self-destruct and blast the barrier open. I want to save someone now. I still need a minute. After a minute, if you can't run, then you can only die." No. Desperate roars resounded through the sky. But roars were useless. At this moment, a few rank 9 powerhouses suddenly attacked and grabbed the martial artists beside them. "Quick, blast the barrier." A few people roared. One of them grabbed a rank 7 martial artist. Under the other party's incredulous gaze, the other party's energy surged into his body and he was instantly thrown toward the barrier. No, despair, indignation, but it was useless. A peak rank 9's energy surged into his body when he was not prepared. The consequences could be imagined. Boom! There was an explosion. Blood mist rose all over the sky. Someone roared angrily, "Grand Deacon, he's lying to us." Everyone joined forces and bombarded one place to open a passage. Don't kill each other. 50 seconds left. At this moment, Fang Ping's ghostly voice rang again. "It'll be quick. In the blink of an eye. If you don't self-destruct, it's useless even if you join forces. Unless you doubt the king of man's strength. Self-destruct. I'll leave you a way out." As he spoke, the initially trembling barrier in front of the people who were attacking the barrier together suddenly stabilized. Fang Ping said lightly, "Continue. My mentality is unlimited. Do as I say. I'll give you a chance. Otherwise, all of you can die. Fight him." A powerhouse roared. As soon as he finished speaking, a saber gleam cut through the sky. The rank 9 who shouted had almost no resistance. Everything was cut off by this saber. Golden body mentality origin with one slash, everything disappeared. "Why don't you try resisting?" Fang Ping smiled brightly. Opposite the door, Chen Yunqi smiled too. "Your smile is so evil. Evil." Fang Ping laughed. "I'm very kind. I can't even bear to step on ants by the roadside. But those are human ants. As for non-humans, who cares?" As he said that, Fang Ping looked at the formation, trapping Chen Yunqi, frowning slightly. At this moment, the meatball suddenly said, "You can't break the formation. Otherwise, her vitality and spiritual consciousness will disappear completely. If you spare me, I can take the initiative to break the formation, let her vitality and spiritual consciousness return, and restore her rank 7 ability." Fang Ping laughed. As he laughed, he patted the meatball like he was playing basketball. He laughed and said, "I have to thank you. This woman, she's messing around. She's the same as Qin Feng Qing, eating good food every day. Her energy is messed up. It's great now. I can't bear to burn her. If you burn her, it'll burn away the impurities. Why would I want those to return? In the past, I thought that if she can't bear the pain, don't burn her. That's not something a human should do." Now, Fang Ping chuckled. "Thank you." Having said that, Fang Ping looked at Chen Yunqi and laughed. "I'll break the formation directly. It's okay to drop ranks. I'll be back soon. This is pure. I'll learn this formation later too. I'll burn them all. I'll let you guys suffer a little, lest your ranks become unstable." Huh. Chen Yunqi was very obedient. She laughed. "I'll listen to you, but your posture when playing is so ugly." Having said that, she watched Fang Ping break the formation. Chen Yunqi seized the time and said to Qing Yun, who was lying on the ground, "Did you see that? He's much better at bluffing than you guys. You guys are really stupid. Now that the sect is destroyed, are you happy? I forgot to thank you. You guys are the source of my happiness when I'm in pain. Watching you bunch of idiots acting, I almost couldn't take it anymore. In the end, you guys almost made me laugh. Thank you so much." Hee hee. At this moment, Qing Yun was not sure if he was in despair or really angry. His throat moved, and suddenly his mentality was extinguished. Fang Ping's action of breaking the formation slowed down. He glanced at Chen Yunqi, the corner of his mouth twitching. "Don't learn from the good, learn from the bad. You're good. You killed a rank 9 with your mouth. Do you want to be the second Fang Ping?" Fang Ping was helpless. Chen Yunqi looked embarrassed. She said timidly, "Don't think too much. I'm a good girl. I was angered by them. I didn't expect them to be so narrow-minded. I angered myself to death." Fang Ping smashed the formation with a punch. Chen Yunqi staggered. Fang Ping wanted to help her up, but this woman suddenly stood up and kicked Elder Jiu, who was like a rubber ball, tens of meters away. "You caught me. I don't even feel like a rubber ball." Fang Ping sighed. "I don't think I need to comfort her anymore. Neo-martial artists. Awesome. Female martial artists were almost becoming devils. P.S. Third point later, try to be before 12 o'clock. 9 Heavens, Divine Emperor. Chapter 1049. On the other side, Chen Yunqi had sent Elder Jiu flying with a kick. On the other side, the people from Mount Luofu were completely scared out of their wits when they saw that the array was broken. Kill them quickly. The chief executive who had killed a rank 7 martial artist earlier was now completely insane. Elder Jiu, a peerless martial artist, had been kicked around like a ball. Could they be Fang Ping's opponents? Impossible. Death was the only option. There was still hope to break the barrier by self-explosion, even if this hope was extremely slim. However, at this moment, everyone wanted to fight for it. The massacre continued. At this moment, a few rank 7 martial artists suddenly fell to the ground and knelt with a loud bang. The sound was really loud. "Lord Human King, spare us! Lord, we are innocent. Lord, we are willing to fight with the humans. Please have mercy." Tearful pleas for mercy were heard. One by one, the martial artists knelt and begged for mercy. They no longer had the arrogance of immortals. This was immortals. Fang Ping had seen the ugly faces of these immortals more than once. Today, it made him feel even more disgusted. Fang Ping reached out and grabbed Elder Jiu back into his hands, smiling faintly. "Aren't we exterminating demons and protecting the Tao?" Fang Ping looked at a rank 6 martial artist who had landed with the crowd. He was very young, looking less than 20 years old. At this moment, his face was pale, so scared that he was even a little wet, kneeling in front of Fang Ping. Fang Ping smiled faintly. "When Elder Jiu opens the passage to the human world, aren't you going to the human world to exterminate demons and protect the Tao?" Now, the righteous immortals are actually kneeling and begging for mercy to the devil? This is the righteous path? Fang Ping laughed out loud, laughing so hard that he did not know why. This was the righteous powerhouse. The devil in their eyes, even if it was just a woman, a young woman, had never begged for mercy when faced with a crisis of death. Even if she had suffered endless pain, she had never said a word of mercy. This was the devil, and this group of immortals who exterminated demons and protected the Tao in front of him were now showing their ugly side, kneeling and begging for mercy, incontinent. It was really too ridiculous. Fang Ping had a strong sense of mockery. At this moment, a woman in the crowd shouted, "Lord Human King, we have committed a crime." The 9th elder had captured Sir's Tao companion, and that was his idea. "I knew nothing about it, and I have never killed any humans. If Sir wants to destroy Luofu Mountain, I am willing to leave Luofu Mountain and never be a disciple of Luofu Mountain again. Sir, please have mercy. Milord, a sovereign personage, the king of a race. Right now, there are still children on the Luofu Mountain. Could it be that Milord wants to kill them all?" A woman cried out in grief, protecting a few tender children in her arms. Mount Luofu had new blood. Fang Ping closed his eyes. Just when everyone thought that there was hope, Fang Ping suddenly turned around and looked at Chen Yunxi, sighing softly. "I'm not ruthless enough." Hearing that, Chen Yunxi laughed softly. "As long as you're happy." "Sigh, I'm kind-hearted," Fang Ping mumbled. He stretched out his gigantic hand. In the faraway lake of perpetual destruction, a broken spirit body was caught in his hand. The next moment, Fang Ping covered the sky with one hand, sweeping in all directions. The palace was crushed into iron blocks and thrown into the storage space. Although the storage space was no longer displayed, it did not affect its functions. However, a storage space of 10,000 cubic meters was really too small. Expanding 1 cubic meter would require 500 million worth of wealth, 50,000 points. Fang Ping had not expanded his storage space for a long time, but at this moment he expanded it rapidly. 10,000 cubic meters, that was 500 million points of wealth consumed. This time, Fang Ping spent a total of 5 billion points of wealth to expand the space. You have to give to get what you want. 100,000 cubic meters. 100,000 cubic meters was actually not that big. At least it was wishful thinking to want to store the entire heavenly palace. However, Fang Ping still had something else. At this moment, in his Sanjiao Gate, a palace floated out. Combat Heavenly Palace. Combat Heavenly Palace could not store living things, but it was not a problem for it to store dead things. Combat Heavenly Palace was not small. Fang Ping uprooted the palaces one by one, crumpled them into a ball, and stuffed them into the storage space and Combat Heavenly Palace. At this moment, the martial artists who were killing each other stopped attacking. One by one, they landed on the ground kneeling. No one dared to speak. Fang Ping's words earlier gave them hope. Maybe Fang Ping would not attack again after taking away the things. The palaces were being uprooted continuously. The bricks and soil underground were all swept away. Some treasure vaults were opened by Fang Ping. Large amounts of high-ranked energy stones, energy liquids, various pills, and various weapons fell into Fang Ping's hands. Not only that, Fang Ping also discovered a huge fruit garden. Seeing the various energy fruits in the fruit garden, Fang Ping's eyes lit up. This was going to be transplanted to Earth. This was really good stuff. After all, Earth had recovered too late. At this moment, there were no mineral veins and there were no energy fruits of this scale. The effects of energy fruits were better than energy liquids. The energy was mild, and each had its own characteristics. For example, the 100 honing fruit had a particularly obvious effect on martial artists at specific times. Fang Ping unfolded Combat Heavenly Palace. Combat Heavenly Palace could be transplanted with plants. As for animals, they could not be transplanted. According to Tsang Mao, monster plants were not considered living beings because they had no emperors. At this moment, a large number of fruit trees were transplanted by Fang Ping. Among them were a few rank 9 monster plants. However, at this moment, a few rank 9 monster plants were like dead things, motionless, allowing Fang Ping to put them into Combat Heavenly Palace, not daring to reveal a single aura. It was too scary. Fruit trees, energy liquids, eternal lake, immortal palace. Fang Ping was really putting on whatever he saw. Combat Heavenly Palace was full, his storage space was full, and he still had many storage rings. At this moment, they were also full. At this time, there were still a large number of palaces. Moreover, this was just the things that he had put in a few dozen li of land. Sky Palace that was spread out for thousands of li. And Fang Ping was waiting. He had no intention of stopping. He was waiting for his wealth to increase. If there was no danger, his wealth would increase. This was also a basis to determine whether there were still powerhouses in this place. There were too many treasures. Including Azure Imperial Palace, they were all taken away by Fang Ping. Those thrones were even embedded with desperate realm demon cores. These were real treasures. Wealth, too. 5 billion points vitality. 513,000 calories. 513,000 calories. Mentality. 10,885 hertz. 10,885 hertz. Can be cut. Origin. Vertical 520 meters. Increase 52%. Horizontal 3,100 meters. Increase 31%. Combat techniques. God-slaying sword techniques. Plus 7%. Void-piercing swordsmanship. Plus 3%. Manic explosion saber. Plus 1%. Combat technique combination deduction. 1 million points / time origin energy conversion. 100,000 points / 1 cloud energy shield. 1 point / minute plus aura simulation. 10 points / minute plus origin. Detailed analysis. 10 to 100 million points / time strength control. 80% limit outburst. 779,760 cal / 9 74700 cal at this moment. Fang Ping was staring at the data. After spending 5 billion to expand the storage space to 100,000 cubic meters, Fang Ping began to wait. At this moment, he dared not go to other places to snatch. He was really afraid that if his wealth broke through 100 billion at once, if he were to level up again, he would be done for. The current him did not have time to level up, other than looking at his wealth. Fang Ping was also looking at his strength control, revealing a faint smile. 80%. This time he actually increased his strength control by about 5%. Maximum vitality was above 970,000 calories. Limit outburst was actually as high as about 780,000 calories. 780,000 calories. It was almost the limit of a weak paragon's strength. Those weak paragons' strength control was not too high, Around 70% was not surprising. Fang Ping did not even take into account the divine weapon. If he did, it should be 800,000 calories, limit outburst. This meant that, at this moment, even if Fang Ping encountered a weak paragon head-on, he also had the confidence to kill the other party without using surprise attacks. Of course, the premise was that the other party was a little stupid. If they were not stupid, they would run even if they were no match for him. This was inevitable. Close to 1,000,000 cal vitality. At this moment, Fang Ping, who had only walked 500 meters on Origin Path, was already close to 1,000,000 cal limit. Based on the weak paragon's calculations, starting from 200,000 calories, without any other body honing in between, walking 1,000 meters would increase the vitality limit by 10,000 calories. Walking 3,000 meters would increase the vitality by 20,000 calories. That would be 220,000 calories. An increase of 2 times vitality would reach 484,000 calories. About 970,000 calories vitality of a rank 9. In this way, the current Fang Ping was comparable to a genuine powerhouse who had walked 3,000 meters on Origin Path. The premise was that the other party had at least 80% strength control, and he had a divine weapon. Otherwise, Fang Ping could totally increase a stage, and there was not much difference between him and a paragon who had walked 4,000 meters on Origin Path. Turns out, I'm so powerful now. Fang Ping smiled faintly, sighing with emotion. The moment he looked at the data, his wealth suddenly skyrocketed. 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion. Fang Ping had moved Mount Luofu, one of the 10 big grotto heavens. It increased all the way to about 70 billion before stopping. It was the biggest gain in history, a gain close to 700 trillion. Yes, 700 trillion. It was equivalent to 700 paragons, holy fruits. Sky elm fruits were often used by Fang Ping as a price comparison now, a gain that was beyond imagination. Moreover, he had not finished cleaning up. At this moment, Fang Ping was not in a hurry to clean up the spoils of war. He had to spend them. He could not let his wealth break 100 billion at this time, or else it would be troublesome. 45 billion points of wealth were consumed in an instant. The storage space this time expanded shockingly, 1,000,000 cubic meters. In terms of size, it was very big. In terms of size, it was actually a cube with a length, width, and height of 100 meters. However, a cube with a length, width, and height of 100 meters could easily store a few 30-story buildings. Back then, Fang Ping wanted to expand the storage space to store rank 9 monster plants, but rank 9 monster plants were actually not this big. Even if they were complete and enlarged to the extreme, they would not be this big. If they were chopped up, they would be even smaller. Very quickly, his wealth dropped to about 26 billion points. However, Fang Ping was not worried at all. He had not finished robbing Mount Luofu. He had really underestimated the boundaries back then. In the Xuande Grotto Heaven, he thought that even if he robbed a territory, his wealth would only be about 10 billion points. Only now did he realize that it was almost 100 billion points. Fang Ping looked at the people kneeling in front of him and said lightly, "Hand over your storage rings, weapons, and everything on you." "Sir." A rank 8 martial artist had just opened his mouth when Fang Ping's large hand pressed down, instantly crushing the other party into minced meat. 3. Fang Ping did not say anything else and directly reported the number. Right at this moment, these people handed over their things one after another. Fang Ping sneered. Chun Yinshi also wore a smile on her face. This was a god. It was really disgusting. Fang Ping waved his large hand and kept the things away again. His wealth increased slightly, not much, just 1 billion points. There were so many people in the huge Mount Luofu, and there were close to 100 high-ranked ones, but there were only 10 trillion treasures. Fang Ping was a little disappointed. It seemed like the wealth below the peak of Mount Luofu was limited. His wealth had reached 27 billion points. Right at this moment, Fong Ping hugged Qin Yunxi, leaped into the air, and said with a smile, "Go catch them! There are still people who are not here within the boundary of 1,000 miles." As he said that, Fong Ping leaped into the air and disappeared in the blink of an eye. As soon as he disappeared, the people kneeling on the ground looked at each other. Someone quickly transmitted his voice. "What should we do? Will this devil really let us go? Head Deacon, why don't we break the barrier now and escape together? No, don't drag us into this." At this moment, someone shouted loudly, his voice incomparably loud, "Lord Human King, someone is conspiring to escape. We are not involved." As soon as these words came out, there was silence everywhere. This was human nature. No, perhaps this was immortal nature. Some people wanted to escape, but some people did not want to be implicated and shouted directly. On the other side, Fong Ping's voice came, "Whoever wants to escape, kill him. Killing is meritorious. The headquarters also wants to see, to watch a show, how to watch it." As he spoke, figures descended from the sky one by one. The people scattered all over the Luofu Immortal Palace were thrown over. There were more and more people. At this moment, everyone was incomparably quiet, trembling with fear, kneeling on the ground. A few people who had just been thrown over wanted to escape, but they were quickly killed by the martial artists in all directions. Not only the people in the heavenly palace, but the outer sect disciples below, the demons, and even some demons outside the boundary wall were quickly captured. A few minutes later, Fong Ping appeared here once again. At this moment, in other areas, all the palaces had disappeared. Fong Ping's wealth increased again, 40 billion points. The core was here. The other places were not too important. Even so, it still increased his wealth by 13 billion points. After calculating, the increase in wealth this time was more than 80 billion points. And this was the reward of destroying Luofu Mountain. On the huge ruins, there were some people and some demons kneeling densely. There were nearly 1,000 people and hundreds of demons. This was all the people and demons of Luofu Mountain. As for Fong Ping, he was playing with some sculptures in his hands. The originally huge sculptures were compressed by him into glass balls. 7. These sculptures were made by the powerhouses above the peak of Luofu Mountain by dividing their mentality, similar to Life Monarch and the others, representing life and death. At this moment, 7 were intact. They represented Luofu Mountain's 12 elders, 1 sect leader, and there were still 7 people alive. Many. However, at this moment, the remnants of their mentality were with Fong Ping. In fact, there were only 5 people alive. And these 5 people, Fong Ping suddenly saw the name of the Shen family's patriarch, Luofu Mountain, 12th elder. Fong Ping smiled. Shen Haotian was not dead. There was also one in Star Town, but no one dared to look at Star Town now, not even Fong Ping. At this moment, seeing Shen Haotian's sculpture here, Fong Ping was in a good mood. It was not surprising that Shen Haotian's sculpture was here. He was Venerable Darch Green Essence's disciple and also an elder of Luofu Mountain, the last one. When he walked out of Luofu Mountain that year, this would definitely be left behind. Now that he saw that he was not dead, Fong Ping was really in a good mood. Other than Shen Haotian, there were still 4 powerhouses alive from Luofu Mountain, 1 emperor level, and 3 peak level. This was probably all the people who entered the celestial cemetery. Luofu Mountain, which has been passed down for thousands of years, didn't die many people in the North-South War. What a pity it's destroyed today. Fong Ping laughed, looked at everyone kneeling below, and said with a smile, "Come, shout that Venerable Darch Green Essence is dog sh*T. Fong Ping raised the canopy. The canopy had now been modified by humans to have its own recording function. It was LV Zhen's masterpiece. This was Fong Ping's first time using it. He felt that it should be very interesting. He wanted to take it and play it in the human world, so that humans could see these people's faces clearly. He wanted to show it to Venerable the arch-green essence, if he was not dead. He wanted to show him what kind of trash his Luofu mountain was. At this moment, everyone below looked at each other. Very soon, someone said hesitantly, "Sir," bang, fragments, minced meat. Hence, after a moment of silence, everyone shouted, "Green essence is dog sh*T. Continue to curse. Curse all the peak-level experts. Curse as much as you can. Ha ha ha. I want to let people see how disgusting you immortals are when you curse people. Your masters, your sect leaders, your elders. Ha ha ha. This is the blessed grotto heaven. This is the immortals." Among the people below, some were ashamed, but some did not care at all, quickly cursing. All kinds of curses sounded. It was a mess. As Fong Ping smiled, his expression turned cold. Very soon he recovered his smile, looked at Qin Yunshi and said with a smile, "Do you think such a group of people can be a match for humans? We human martial artists are greedy for life and afraid of death. But is there a sect like this? Are all of them dogs? Such a big sect, all of them. Not one, all of them. How ridiculous." Qin Yunshi held his arm, as if she was a little weak, leaning on his arm. Hearing that, she laughed and said, "Isn't this good? The more incompetent and useless the enemy is, the better the lives of humans will be." "Makes sense." Fong Ping laughed and said, "Let's go. If we see too many of these people, our eyes will get dirty." After saying that, Fong Ping disappeared. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, not daring to stop cursing, still cursing. After a while, everyone looked at each other, and all heaved a huge sigh of relief. Narrowly escaped death. However, at this moment, a powerful mentality swept in all directions. Everyone below the high rank died. Just as the high ranks and above were about to escape, a Chongdao sliced through the air, like cutting melons and vegetables, killing dozens of people in an instant. "Fong Ping, you shameless villain, you said you would spare us. Lord King, spare us." "No, don't kill me. I'm going to achieve Dao soon. Spare me, Lord." Ah! Screams were heard one after another. At the same time, the broken Sky Palace fell. There was a rumble. The next moment, the Sky Palace fell, emitting a roar. However, the boundary was a place separated from the world. The demons on the periphery were all captured inside. Right now, even if there was a sound, it could not be heard across the forbidden sea. Fong Ping, who was already far away, laughed and said, "What a pity. I wanted to set off fireworks, but I was afraid of being discovered. No matter, in the 3 major boundaries, this is only the first. The third, I must set off fireworks. Let the 3 realms see the brilliance of fireworks." Mount Luofu was destroyed. Sect annihilation. Fong Ping did not think about those young people, those children. He was the leader of the human race, not the leader of the other races. Since those people wanted to eliminate demons and defend the Tao, he, the demon, would be a real demon for once. Did I say I would spare you? I don't think so. Fong Ping pinched a meatball in his hand, smiled playfully, and said, "Ninth Elder, how was the show? Did you like it?" Silence. "You'll see even more. The 3 realms want to kill the human race. I thought about it. Maybe they think that I, Fong Ping, am not a demon enough. King Wu is a demon enough. But King Wu is petty. He only kills individual powerhouses. Things like annihilating a sect. He doesn't do much. I thought about it. Since he's not a demon enough, then I'll be a little more demon. Maybe it'll be better." Fong Ping smiled brightly, turned his head to look at Qin Yunshi, smiled and asked, "Are you afraid?" "No." Qin Yunshi's smile was also extremely bright. "I like to see you become a demon. Your demon is a good demon. Ha ha ha." Fong Ping laughed. "Good demon? Good words. Then watch me become a demon. Go to Earth and watch. You're too weak, not qualified to be a demon with me." As Fong Ping finished speaking, he tossed Qin Yunshi far away. There a figure was floating in the air. The figure looked at Fong Ping, not saying a word. Fong Ping smiled and said, "I'm old. I have to accept my fate. If you do this kind of thing sneakily next time, Don't blame me for expelling your human status. Human status. Fang Ping created a new term. In the distance, Qin Yaoding did not say a word either. You can say whatever you want. Chen Yunqi, who was floating in the air, waved at Fang Ping, her smile still as bright as a flower. Go kill them and make them tremble. I'll go to Magic City to warm up the wine for you. Good wine, good wine. I'll wait for you to come back to celebrate. Don't let the wine get cold. You're so long-winded. Spring is here. Why are you drinking warm wine? Go back quickly, or else when I go back, you'll still be on your way. Fang Ping laughed, his figure disappearing instantly. Destroying Mount Luofu was smoother than expected. Chun Yunqi's realm dropped to rank 5, unable to manifest her Sanjiao gate. But Fang Ping was not in a hurry. If this was not a problem, what was the realm? People were fine. They would only improve further. What a pity. What a pity that I didn't set off fireworks. I'm not feeling good. Today, I must set off fireworks. Let the 3 realms see the splendor of fireworks. Fang Ping muttered in a low voice. It seemed like people had forgotten his fireworks skills. In the distance, Chun Yunqi's smile was so bright that it was hard to feel sad. Chen Yaoting, who was originally heartbroken, did not know whether to laugh or cry at this moment. After a long time, he sighed softly. He's the leader of humanity, humanity's only hope. Child, stop giving him trouble. Stop saying that you like him in front of others. Stop thinking about getting married and having children. He doesn't need to be dragged down. Humanity can't have an unquestionable sword either. I'd rather he ignore you than go crazy for you. Grandpa, I'm sorry. No, Grandpa, you're right, Qin Yunqi chuckled. I won't let him become unquestionable sword. I am just an admirer of the king of humanity. One of thousands of admirers. I'll wait until the day humanity wins. Grandpa, can you wait with Yunqi? Okay. Qin Yaoting smiled with tears in his eyes. He did not know if he should be happy or sad. Chun Yunqi was still smiling like a flower. I don't want to be the wife of the king of humanity. I want to be the wife of the king of the 3 realms. I'll wait until that day comes. If I can't wait, then humanity has already failed. There's no need to think about these anymore.